it the same way some people don't like horror, people don't like comic movies. That's the same thing with me with musicals. Like, yeah, it's not for me. I appreciate it. I would never say, oh yeah, In the Heights is a bad movie. It's just, no, it's just not my tempo,
not your tempo. Yeah.
yeah, not my
I
cup of
totally
tea.
get it. So I remember watching Phantom of the Opera for the first time. I haven't seen it. I would love to see it on Broadway, but watching it for the first time, I'm like, this is really cool.
I think
I really liked it.
when it came through Charlotte for their Broadway series, we do season tickets to the theater here, and we saw it. And I think the problem with that is that it's kind of like Cats. Everyone that I know, like, oh my god, it's amazing. When I see it, it's like, it's okay, but I think all the hype ruined it.
Yeah.
Fair.
The way Travis feels about musicals is usually how I feel about them. But there's always exceptions. One of which for me is my exposure of Hamilton because of my wife and some of his other work like Moana and stuff. I do like Lin-Manuel Miranda's style, and I think I would have known that was him even if I didn't know. Like, I would have picked it out, but I 100 like every other musical, I pretty much am right there with Travis. Like, no, they just magically break out into song. I mean, come on, no.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, and lots of people definitely disagree with this, but I feel like with musicals, like the characters and the plot's like very basic, but because the music's really good and lots of the musical numbers and the choreography is really good, it gets a pass. But lots of like, that's where for me, some In the Heights, I was like, this story I've seen like 10 million times and there's nothing really new, but it's like this music's really catchy. So I was like, okay, if Jimmy Smith was the main character, maybe I'd be in, but he was, when I figured out he's only going to be in it here and there, I'm like, no, I'll wait till I do my rewatch of Dexter season 3 or
I think you're right. Like, I mean, I'm not going to say In the Heights doesn't have good characters or a good story, but yeah, it is. These things are graded like purely on the music and the dance production. Like, that's all the grading.
Yeah.
Rightly or wrong.
And that was his claim to fame, how he got on the map with this film. I mean, the title character was Lynn's character in the play.
So, oh yeah, that makes sense. Well, yeah, so it's 6 now. We'll just start, and then what we'll do is people are going to be trickling in throughout like the 2 hours. Like, some people are getting off work and everything like that, so we'll just go. I'll do a quick little intro right here, and then boom, there's that, sir.
Hey, Greg.
Oh, it's Greg.
Here I am.
Yeah.
Chris, go a little louder. Go a little louder with your input, Chris.
Okay.
Go like 3/4.
Gotcha.
How's it going, Greg?
Better?
Yes.
Oh, Chris. I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm tired but good. So I'm making through. Yeah. I'll do a quick little intro now, and then that'll be for the pod. But then we're just gonna shoot the shit for about 2 hours and talk about whatever. So Kirkland, I can ask you about musicals because you didn't say. And Greg, I want to ask Greg what your favorite musical is or whatnot. But you save it. You get to think. So
okay, I already know. So
yeah,
you're never gonna guess this one, but it'll be fun.
Newsies.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Geek Ultimate Alliance 1-year anniversary cast. I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Travis Snell. You're going to hear introductions from people right now, and then throughout this podcast when you're listening, there's going to be a bunch of people trickling through. But we just wanted to do something because a couple weeks ago it was the 1 year, and it's been a really fun time. But I will throw to first my, I guess I say former, but still kind of, former full-time co-host, Chris Balga. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Happy to be a part of it. 1 year. Big
I hope Nathan knows he's changing right on air.
Yeah.
Or this is gonna be the best 1 year ever.
It is after 9, so
it is after 9. Yeah. If Nathan's just butt ass nude, like it'd be great for us.
I got clothes on, guys. I got clothes on.
Introducing the OnlyFans.
We were worried when you walked to your closet and we just saw you pull out jeans. Like, here we go.
This stream's a little different. I was like, well, on StreamYard you can't really see because everything's cocked. This time I was like, well, they probably don't want to look in the closet because my wife's just got it. It just looks like she threw up in there, to be honest. Her clothes are just everywhere. So
with all my DVDs behind me, I mean,
right.
Yeah, no, I didn't do the StreamYards because if it gets past, what is it? I think it's 10 or something like that. Yeah, but I just know, the time when I would do it, that's the time it would be like, oh, no, it's sorry. And then I got to kick Kirkland out, but that's fine. I'll leave you last, Kirkland. The new co-host of Marvel Alliance. How you doing tonight, Brent?
I'm doing good. Newest to the network, unless I'm missing something. So I'm just a baby compared to all you guys.
I
Newest
don't
at the
think
moment.
so. I'm trying to rack my brain around anybody, but no, I don't think. I think you are technically the newest. You did, I think, guest
I'm the
star
new
like
guy.
Marvel Alliance. I think like episode 4 or 5. So you've
Yeah.
been like in the halls
Doesn't
a few
count.
times. Yeah, yeah. He's like the kid from a different school, but then he transferred over. But he's still going to the other
There you
school.
go.
He's all.
We had to
these schools.
we had to test him out first. We got to test him first for see if he can be in the group.
That is
Exactly.
totally fair. Totally fair.
And I'll just throw to that. Oh, I was gonna throw to Nathan, but then he took a drink, so it was gonna be the worst
Hey,
transition.
I'm right here.
So I'll throw to you now, Nathan. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks. I mean, celebrating the 1-year anniversary. Like, look at us. We come this far. Look, I haven't been canceled yet. Huzzah! I'm still here. So, like,
I was worried when the
here,
Gina thing happened.
Right. I know. There's a lot of people that was worried, and that's that's all right. I made it. Glad to be here, guys. It's been a hell of a ride for this first year. A lot of ups and downs in the personal life and podcasting. We just keep shooting up, and
We went through.
I think it's a good thing. Yeah, pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so like you said, we started it right in the middle of the pandemic. Like, holy hell!
Yeah,
But
You
it
want a
worked out
podcast
good.
About content. Well, we don't
Quibi
have
did
it.
too. Quibi did too. But you lasted
You're-
longer
yeah.
than that.
We lasted longer than Quibi. We
That's a
outlasted
great
him.
point, Brent.
That should be the new motto: "Outlasted Quibi."
That's our
Yeah.
tagline.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
exactly.
trademark
Yeah.
that tonight.
This was our pandemic task. Everyone had
Yeah.
a hobby. Everyone had some sort of pandemic thing. We started a network.
That's a big announcement. Tonight's the last episode. We just want
Oh,
to.
damn it.
Made it, guys. We're good.
Oh,
Pandemic's
really?
over.
Shit.
Yeah, 1 year we went good. The Bat Daddy, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing great, man. I got tomorrow off, Father's Day. My
nice.
podcast with a bunch of
Nice,
great
nice.
hosts, celebrating 1 year, which does not feel like 1 year
No.
by any means,
No.
which is good. That means it was fun and it went by quickly.
Yeah.
But it's just been an amazing change with this network and the growth, and it's just it's a great group of people and it's just fun to be involved with.
Well, I will say this multiple times, but Greg is the main reason why this whole thing started, because I met a lot of you and a lot of other people through him, because just messaged me on Twitter once and we started
It's true.
talking. And then through that, I guess on Super Civil Servants, I met Chris and Nathan, and then I met Katie, and then I met Brent by chance. And then that's how I met Clay. And then I met Clay.
It
to
was
Joe,
on Super
and-
Civil Servants.
Yeah, it wasn't even scheduled. I was just like, yeah, I could come on tonight. And then and then I met Joe through Clay, and just a whole Kirkland I had to work with. So that was
Yeah.
terrible, but,
Stuck with.
but yeah, and congrats, sir, because you guys are coming up on 100 episodes over there at SCS. So
Yeah, we are.
Very soon. Very
yeah.
soon.
So like I
Can't
said,
believe
let
it.
me know.
That's Greg.
And y'all
Greg just
all invited.
I just say Greg showed me the text of our first conversation of like when you put the feelers out there. I was like, holy shit, that feels like so long ago. Like our first text exchange to start the show.
Yeah.
Funny enough, how this is all tied together. In that first text I sent you, it says, "Hey man, I've heard you ask questions on Fans Without Borders, and I like your questions. You
Yeah.
sound like my kind of guy. You want to
Yeah.
start a podcast together?"
Man,
So yeah,
that should have been a red
all comes
flag.
back around.
Aw.
I think if I go back to my first text exchange with Greg, it was him talking to me about how Green Lantern was better than Doctor Strange. So
Yeah.
that's how I
Oh,
can
shit.
That's it.
Still,
That
I
adds up.
still stand behind that.
Oh, I know you do. I wish we had a Green Lantern 2 to compare to Multiverse of Madness, but maybe
Ooh.
one day. I didn't even mean that as a shot, Kirkland. You're trying to make.
I know. I'm trying to make it something that it's not.
Definitely a shot.
And then
I
we
like
are joined by Actually. How's it going today, sir?
Underscore actually underscore.
All right, I can't.
Oh, Nathan didn't have his headphones in. Darn it.
Sorry, damn it. Sorry, I had my
I know how
wife.
much you
talk
love
to my
that.
wife.
Now you're good. I'm doing pretty good. I haven't, unlike the rest of you outside of Brent, I haven't been with the network a whole year. It's been I think 6 months whenever Ranger Alliance started. I can't exactly remember when, but it's just the time I've been with you guys has been amazing. It's been fun. The conversations that we get into on not only the shows but in the group chat is tiresome at times.
Oh yeah.
Hence
but I
the
love it.
constant use of the GIF from Me, Myself, and Irene. Oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
Mhm.
I
That is
love
the
it.
one thing I miss about when I left social media is I do miss the DM chatter, the direct, the whole group messaging thing, because there was always a lot of interesting conversations to be had in there.
It's okay. It's usually just Clay really pissed off at something now.
God,
Oh.
no joke.
WB.
I'm waiting.
I
I'm waiting
love
for
it
Clay,
too
guys.
because
Look,
I'll be
I'm
in the
waiting
middle
for
of
Clay. I'm gonna get it. Here's the thing.
I'll be at work and I'll mute it because when the group chat pops off, it's just in my ear constantly. And
Oh yeah.
I like actually listen to podcasts and not
Right.
taking 5 minutes to have somebody say one sentence. So then when I get it back into the group chat, 130 messages have gone by and I'm
Right.
scrolling through all of them, reading all of them. It's great.
You just need to turn off sound for Twitter. Just turn it off for Twitter. You can leave it on for
There
the
it
rest
is.
of it.
Yeah.
Maybe. We'll see.
And lastly, for now, I'm sure the man who has the group chat muted, because you have some of our GV group chats muted. You're just the mute master. You check
I'm the
Twitter
mute
like what,
master.
every 3 weeks, and then you bounce, and then you come
Something like
back.
that.
Yeah.
It's I sometimes I'll try and like catch up on everything that's happened in the group chat,
hard,
and it's
man.
Oh,
just
good lord.
100 messages is hard. I can't
Yeah,
imagine what you have
so-
to go through.
I usually get Travis to like break down the cliff notes of what happened. Anything
I
else.
feel like Snail's like the Rick of the thing, and Kirkland's like the Kirkland brand Mises, because Travis is just always savaging you on shit. I mean, if you guys have seen Rick and Morty, like the Kirkland brand Mises, everybody just shits on. So I just feel like that's what he treats you
I
like.
do gotta ask.
I feel sorry sometimes.
Unfortunately, he's gonna be joining in a bit. That's probably definitely Taylor, as I spent 10 minutes of the first episode or last episode of Geek First trashing his new Jeep. I didn't mean trashing it, but I was really mad he got a Jurassic World sticker on instead of Jurassic Park. I was like, why do you not get Park? Why do you not?
Yeah, that's a mistake. I would have been with you.
But he stands by it, so no, Kirkland, he'll survive, so.
The first question I'm going to ask him when he gets on.
Yeah, go ahead. Now we're just shooting the crap. People are going to join throughout the next 2 hours and
here we go.
whatnot, so about anything, so.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg. What was your question?
No, I was just saying I'm going to ask him about that Jurassic World sticker.
Taylor.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
gonna
Oh, that's the
Taylor,
first
yeah.
question. Well, the first question
Right.
that you, because before we were on air, we were talking about musicals, and Greg, you said your favorite
yeah.
musical would surprise you. What would that be? Because we were talking about if we like if
Musical?
people like them. Yeah, because people, Chris was just finishing In the Heights, so that's how that kind of started. And then we were talking about, I'm not really a fan of them. I watched La La Land, and that's all I like. That's about it. Other than that, there's not much there for me. So, but Greg, you said your answer would surprise us.
It is. I don't seek musicals, but if I happen to see one, for some reason, I always enjoy myself when I watch them. So so I don't really have a lot that I go after. I don't go to watch a musical, but when I was younger, my mom,
You liar.
you know how you get those deals where you get like 7 tapes, this month, and the 7 tapes, because
Yeah.
I'm old, cassette tapes we had back then.
Damn. I remember that.
She got this thing called 7 Brides for 7 Brothers. I don't know if y'all have ever seen that. It is
I've heard of that.
insanely
Heard of it,
old.
but I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Insanely old. It is an insanely misogynistic, horribly
yeah.
horribly done movie. But for some reason, I love watching it. And when I say misogynistic, when I say
Sure.
misogynistic,
Speaks
I
to
don't
me
mean
at
like
a
they're beating
deeper
women
level,
or anything.
you know?
It's on just on the personal deep level. It just calls to him.
The premise of the movie is 7 brothers go down that live on top of a mountain.
Whoa,
Go down to a-
whoa,
Yeah.
Hey,
look at
those
it.
aren't heroes. They're not
Yeah.
heroes.
Go
GUA
down
after
to a
dark.
city and steal 7 sisters and take them
They must
back
be
up the
villains.
mountain, and they get
They must
snowed
be
into the
villains.
winter with an avalanche, and they end up falling in love. It's a musical. It's so dumb.
Like Stockholm
But it's from
syndrome.
childhood.
That is terrible.
That's definitely
It's
what
not
it
any
sounds
worse
like.
than Beauty and the Beast, though, right? He kidnaps Belle and then she falls in love with him. Like, it's the same deal. It's
Yeah.
just that one's
Well, it's
like,
not that he doesn't kidnap Belle. He
They
kidnaps the
trade
dad,
places.
and
Oh,
then
they
she trades places.
sorry,
and
she
just
trades
is- can't-
places with her.
can't
The court of
leave.
law
Father.
says that's a gray area.
You know what?
Don't mess
I
up
might even
Beauty and the Beast in front of Joe. He's gonna correct you.
I might even be with the
I love
Beast. I
Disney
got to go in there
shit.
with all those enchanted fucking thing, just like a little cup talking to me and a candlestick and stuff. I love it there. This is the greatest.
I'm
You
just
just think
saying,
you're hot.
if someone's like, how'd you meet your wife, Nathan? It's like, well, she kidnapped my dad,
Yes.
and then I had to swap places with her, and then I fell in love with her, and then she turned a human. I was like, great, I'm definitely in love.
But now I'm all the way in.
yeah, no, oh, she's
Could be
hot, thank
reversed. Could
God.
be like Shrek. It could be like Shrek, and I'm thinking we're gonna be great. We get married, and I turn into a fucking ogre. Like, damn it, what happened?
I had the biggest
Been there,
opinion.
done that.
Someone on Twitter shared, I don't think I've ever watched it, in that that Shrek 2 is like an allegory for interracial relationships, because it's like her bringing home the ogre to her parents and then like not wanting her to be with an ogre and stuff like that. Never thought about that at
Well,
all. But
couldn't you put religion with the same thing, like a Jew and a
100%.
Catholic getting together, or
Yeah.
or even Israeli? You know what I mean? Just like, I get it.
and I never thought about that. I just watched this like, oh, they just don't like ogres. That's all, that's
Yeah,
all
right.
I thought about it.
Well,
Well, like
usually
this-
they live under bridges and stuff, and and are bad people.
Well,
Well,
it's like
there's- Go
what
ahead.
they
Yeah,
say
no.
about X-Men at that point being an allegory for being gay.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the thing too. It's when Greg was talking about like, movies
57.
that are like tough to watch nowadays, or like that are misogynistic. That's the way I feel about like the first 2 scary movies, where it's like, I know these are completely inappropriate nowadays, but I
They're
still
gr-
watch them.
Right.
They're
enjoy
great.
They
They
are
are
great, but
fucking
The
we,
first 2 are
hilarious.
amazing.
they are. But we were like, oh, maybe we'll do a commentary track on Geek First once, and then
Oh,
when we watched the
no.
first one together, we're like, oh,
Yes.
we couldn't do this. We couldn't.
I
do
will
this
be
live.
there. I will be there. We will do that live. We'll be there live. I always remember those movies and just being like, I cracking up. I haven't seen them in years, but I remember like laughing hysterically at those movies when they came out.
Wayne's Brothers, man, In Living Color was the shit back in the day. I loved all that stuff. Fire Marshal Bill and what was the clown's name that he played? He was always grumpy.
Homie, don't play that.
Yeah, what was his name?
What was his name?
But,
Homie.
Yeah.
Homie.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh, Homie the
Homie,
Clown.
okay,
right?
yeah,
Homie,
it
don't
was,
play
yeah.
that. Smack.
He was so good. He was really funny. But I
Joe
guess I
with
should
all the
introduce him
useless
'cause
information.
he's
Exactly.
here, the host
38
of
years of
Discussions.
useless information.
How you doing, other Travis?
Oh, I was just enveloped. Is this Geek versus After Dark? I was just wondering
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yes.
It's everything. We're just-
because of the movies that Greg was talking about. I kind of hope that you got a little disclaimer because that was pretty rough.
Who doesn't love a movie where you kidnap your bride? It's fine, right?
Yeah.
No, it covers
Seven
that, yeah.
Sisters, no
Yeah.
less. So, jeez Louise.
And they all
Hey,
wear
uh,
different, same shirt, different colors too, which makes
New
it even
twist on Runaway Bride.
Yeah, really.
They're like the Chipmunks, or like like Huey, Louie, and Dewey, just same, only just different shirts.
Mhm.
Oh,
Tony, how you going? How you going?
How you going?
How you
Hey, how you
going?
going?
How you doing?
going?
Good yourself.
Yeah, I'm not too bad, dealing
good.
with this madness going on. So, anyone else have musicals to shout out that they'd be surprised you like? So, I don't think anyone's going to top Greg's pick, but actually, Kirkland, before we were on here, you didn't say a word about musicals. Where are you on them?
I quite enjoy musicals.
Okay.
I watched Grease all the time with my
Thank you
sister
for
back in the day. So, and then like even High School Musical, I remember when that came out, I was like at the right age to just like appreciate it, I guess.
Yes.
And
classic.
I'm a young guy. Okay, I grew up with
that's
it.
Baby.
And so yeah, I've always kind of liked them. I feel like they are just way higher than life, and like you shouldn't take them seriously because when they just like break out into song, if you're not vibing with that, I can totally understand why you'd be taken out of the film. But
When you try doing that in real life, people just look at you and just
Yeah.
say, all right, there he is,
He'll
take
be
him away.
committed, yeah.
I just say, if
exactly.
you've never walked up on two rival gangs who saw things with a song and a dance off, it's like, I mean, what are you talking about?
yeah,
Talking about movies that are dated, Grease is like Grease is so dated. Last time, because Emily's a huge fan, I was watching it. Man, John Travolta, like what he considers like consensual in that movie is not. It's so far across the line. So many times he's like, I just tried to kiss her, but it's like, no, man, you're like, he's like taking her jacket off, but back then it's like, oh yeah, he's the good one out of them
Stand-up
all,
guy.
Or like at the end of the movie, okay, the message we want to send to young women at that point. Oh, you want to get your man at that point, convert to everything he likes, and then go that
Yes.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's
fly
a great
away in a
message.
car.
Fine, because she's dead the entire movie. It's
Yeah.
exactly.
And that's how my wife got with me. So I used the Grease. That's how I used the Grease blueprint, and here we are. Happily
gotta
married
see-
4 years almost.
I gotta see you
True
sing
love.
a dance to her. I gotta see you sing a dance to her first
Yeah.
before I probably believe anything.
You don't want to see this move, guys, because I'm a lot of
No, we
shoulders.
do.
I'm a lot of
We do.
shoulders when I'm dancing and some shuffling. I mean, my Jamie, like she literally has tears in her eyes when I get all drunk and start breaking it down because it is not a pretty
Tears of
sight.
pain.
I imagine you
Like
like
it is
Earl.
not.
My name
Yes,
is Earl.
it is not a pretty sight.
Just to be clear, we want to see it. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We got a wedding coming up, and I'm in it. And usually, when I'm in weddings, look out. So there could be a chance for a video to surface here in the next month and a half, 2 months.
Nice.
So Heinz, I feel like for you it has to be the Flash episode, right? Like the Flash musical episode. That has to be your favorite musical of all time.
I don't hate it. I'm not a big fan of musicals. Now, back in high school, I was dating this girl, and I must have ended up watching Moulin Rouge about 10 times more than I wanted to, which was the total 10 times. So,
Sure.
but I actually, by the
girlfriend.
time I ended up like not hating it, but I've never watched it since then. Never went back, and I haven't really watched musicals besides The Flash, Supergirl, crossovers. I don't hate them. Like I enjoy them. Like I don't expect them to be anything more than fun. And so,
Like
Forgot Supergirl's a good one.
even as a kid, like watching like Aladdin, like I loved Aladdin. Fucking hated when they started singing. Hated it. I was a kid and hated it with a passion when they just break out in
All of the-
song.
All of the Disney movies are musicals.
Yeah.
I know, and I
Every
hated
single
it.
one.
Thing.
I feel like though they're their own thing. Like
They are. They're their own little
like
True.
what we talked
True.
about before starting about how musicals like it's all about the song and dance and not the character. I don't feel
Correct.
like that applies to these shows.
Well, I mean, there's a great documentary it's called Waking Sleeping Beauty about how basically the Black Cauldron, that movie, it basically pretty much bankrupted Disney, and Little Mermaid was their last shot to save the company, and they said, why don't we just try to turn it into a musical, and here we are.
Crazy.
That's all they'd ever do anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, well, now it's just
And it
repumping
works.
everything out. They just started filming Little Mermaid, I think, like a week or two ago. So I'll at least see it at some point in my life because they just have me hooked.
My wife loves Disney, like all the old Disney, loves them. Like she cherishes them. All the live action, she hates them, rejects everyone. She's not found one that she likes, and she's watched like a lot of hates all of them. But she'll watch those old animated Disney movies on loop day after day. But she hates the remakes, all of them. She's not found one yet that she likes, which I think is just weird because it should be right up her alley.
Yeah, I'm a mix. There's some I like, some I dislike, some I really don't like. The only one I think is like great is like the Cinderella one that Kenneth Branagh did. I really liked that one. But other than that, I liked Aladdin for the most part. Other than Jafar, I don't know, he was fine. I was expecting him to chew a bit more scenery, you know. But what about you, Tony? You got any musical, you know?
Either Newsies or Les Mis.
Les Mis. Oh man, I fell asleep in Les Mis. Good for you. Good for you.
It's a long movie. It's a lot, like over 3.5 hours long.
Good for
Is it
you.
really? Shit, I went and saw that in theaters.
In the movie I saw, Anne Hathaway is still alive. I'll just say that. I haven't got any further, but
Fell asleep watching that in the theater. That's what Aaron wanted to watch for the theater, so we went there, and I had a nice 3-hour sleep.
oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there's
Well
It's
always
gonna be
rested.
that long. 'Cause I saw like, wow, this is a long movie. But hey, the songs they caught me. As long as the song is good, I'm in for it.
Especially Russell
If-
Crowe singing, because we all love that.
If my wife ever asked me to go to the theater to see a musical, I would be expecting there to be divorce papers because that's going to be her
Wow.
final FU and stab because like she knows like I never ever will I go to see that shit. So I would just be expecting like that's going to be her last stab in the back to go ha ha, and then here's the papers because
I like that he's
I
thought that
hate
far
him.
ahead. He knows how his wife's gonna divorce him. He's like he's ready for it.
That's worse than a literal stab in the back.
right. See, yeah.
Thanks, Wonder Meg, for the congrats. Which is a crazy thing because any other GUA show when she's been in the chat, I'm never on. But thank you very much for that. And you guys had a good episode. You guessed it on one episode with Chris, so thank you very much. You took Killing Joke though. I was pretty disappointed when Chris told me he's like Wonder Meg's on. I'm like, oh, that's great. She's doing Killing Joke. I was like, fuck, because I was like, I kind of forgot no one had done it yet. I just thought someone had done.
I
Killing
assumed
Joke.
you had it reserved.
I honestly thought someone had done it, but I think I just nailed it with because it goes Long Halloween and then Killing Joke for me. So it's like in my mind, I must have just thought, no, they've probably both been done. And then when she
You got time, it's fine.
yeah, well,
Why
exactly.
are you such a fan of Barbara being brutalized? Jeez, like
Long
what
Halloween,
the
nothing
hell?
happens. Long Halloween, nothing happens. I'm good there. There's no kids in there, but yeah. No, I love those two. The movie, not so much. I'm hoping Hines. I'm hoping next week Long Halloween will be good. I got my fingers crossed.
Oh, is that
I'm
next
not
week?
believing hype of
Is
people
it
being
next
like,
week?
yeah,
Wow.
Tuesday.
digital, yeah. I think
Tuesday.
so.
Damn. Yeah,
No, it's
I'm
fit-
gonna-
no,
No,
it's physical.
digital and physical.
Physical and
I have a
digital,
question
yeah.
for you guys. Has everyone here seen a Titans teaser?
Yes.
Yes.
And Wonder Meg
Do you
says
go-
Killing Joke is the best. It's up there for me. It's a great story.
Do you
Go ahead.
think that was Joker? I don't
No.
I really don't know. Like I don't think so. I think they said I think they said a scarecrow, but I mean,
If it's not, they
that
are
looks-
shooting themselves in the foot, the face, the tongue.
Won't be the
everything.
first time.
Yes.
Yeah.
You didn't. It wouldn't be. But this is
Oh.
like
Be on brand.
really bad. You don't.
now they
show-
know they've done that though.
Yeah. This is them
They knew they did that the
advertising. Hey,
first season.
look.
They did it again in the second.
Nah.
But then they
Like-
just straight up lied at that point, saying he's not meeting at the end of a crowbar. It's like, oh, come on.
but you
Mhm.
don't need to see him. You don't I don't need to see. You could do the exact same thing as Birds of Prey. I don't need to see him anymore after this.
Yeah, I agree.
Him get
Yeah.
like you don't like that's the thing. What drives me crazy? Like they're scared to put Joker in a couple properties. We don't need to see Joker for the full season or anything like that. Like
No,
you can stick him in there for a second, then go on
just
with your
refer
Joker
to him
movie.
too. You don't got to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
Go ahead, Nathan.
so even with that Titans trailer, like when he walks into that carnival and you see that guy there, you could literally cut it and then do a time jump and he's in the hospital or like dead or whatever. You know, you could technically do the same storyline and skip the Joker part, which I know we all want to see him take the blunt end of crowbar. But technically if they still want to connect it to Joker, you can show that scene that they showed, cut it, And then the next thing we know, we find him, Batman finds him, or Bruce, you know, because they're not going to show Bat, like finds him brutalized or whatever. You can still technically do it.
100%. I think if they've done the laugh, they've shown a guy with the Joker smile, and they have the crowbar. If Joker or that, like the retelling of that's not on there, I think they're gonna really lose a lot of goodwill with people, because that to me is just trying to tease something that's not there. But if you pause that shot, there's Joker with the crowbar, there's a guy on the ground, and then there's a guy tied up. I think they're gonna rework it that Dick is gonna see the killing of the other Robin, and Bruce will hear about it. But I think that's what's going to happen, because you can see a guy on the ground and a guy tied up if you pause that image. So, and I think
so, like Nightwing picking him up, like the body almost.
Yeah,
instead of Bruce.
And he's our main character, so it almost makes sense in this story for him to see it instead of Bruce, right? So,
yeah, it would necessarily. I mean, again, it's not saying they can't change stuff, and fans will get upset. But I mean, the maniacal laugh, it's Joker. It doesn't line up with Scarecrow. It just doesn't.
Get out of here.
I know, yeah. Well, it's DC and WB, so I mean, we've seen how this week goes with that.
It's Titans. Titans has had its fair share of controversy
on his look.
I mean, it has to be Joker, right? But it's WB. It's the Titans. They've done some stupid shit. Let's be real. Granted, this isn't a season finale, so we're probably safe from that. But
maybe they've decided to switch and screw up the season opener instead and really knock it out of the park.
I'll
take that.
Yeah,
I'd much rather have a bad first episode.
I think you're forgetting the second season. The first episode was not, besides the last little stinger for Deathstroke.
Last 10 minutes, but the last 10 minutes was great though, when they got the team together and they got the apartment and they got the suits. That was good. It was like this montage. Like I was like, oh, I had so much faith. And then, but I gotta ask you guys, like everyone's been like, well, they better stick the landing or else. If they don't stick the landing, are any of you like legitimately you're done for season 4? You jump off?
I'll still watch
That's the exact question I asked on SCS last night, because I'm thinking the same thing. I'm not. Like I'm gonna watch it because there's like I said, there's some really bad stuff that's happened, not sticking the landing, but there's too much good stuff for me just to give up on it.
Yeah,
the costumes, the characters, there's just too much good stuff for me to not watch it at all.
They haven't turned to the CW shows yet.
Oh, can like somebody that has not watched like season 7 of The Flash or season 6 of The Flash or season 5 of Legends or
are you standing by all those seasons right now, Hines?
No, I'm telling him like he's saying like, no, the costumes and we're seeing characters. Talk to me when you get to seasons where you want to pull your head out.
When it gets that way, then I'll stop watching it. But what I'm saying is
20 something episodes. Well, it happened with you at Flash and that already is what I'm saying. Like
what happened with Flash after like 4 or 5 seasons.
The good thing Titans has though is
it happened for like 90% of the country though for like 4 or 5 seasons. It was just like Flash.
I don't know, but I don't know if the numbers would support that exact estimate. But.
The good thing with Titans though is just the shorter episodes, right? Like the shorter season. That makes it so much better. And I'm like what Greg was and what Greg was referring to, what Meg said in the chat. As long as Dick Grayson's in the show, I'm stuck watching it because it's my only Dick Grayson like live action content, and I love like Barber's coming in here. We got Jason Todd, we got the 4th like lowest tier Robin, Tim Drake, the guy who shouldn't be a Robin, but he's coming in, so that's exciting for some fans.
Wow! Damn, shots fired!
Whoa.
No, I just like to bug Brent about Tim Drake.
I was gonna say
we're the polar opposites on it, but either way,
you're
like
wrong, but whatever.
Right, Brent? Yes.
But I agree. Thing is, I like them all, and that's a good thing. They're all going to be in this season, so that gets me interested, because usually the Dick stuff is good. The other stuff, Beast Boy, we'll see.
That's what she said.
I want to reword that.
But the Dick Grayson
stuff is so good.
The Dick Grayson stuff is usually hits for me, so that's why it's like I'll keep watching even this finale shit again.
Brendan Thwaites is excellent as Dick Grayson. Like he is as the Robin, Nightwing. Like this kid he is great playing that role. He really is.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he is. I wish he doesn't need a movie to like validate him, but like I wish there was a bigger universe that he could jump into. I'd love him to get a bigger budget and whatnot, but he's doing a good job. Would
you guys like to see him as? Would you guys like to see him as Daredevil in the MCU?
No,
Charlie. You think he could pull that?
We got him. We're good.
I'm just saying, like, if they were to do you think, like, if you know what I mean? If I personally, I want Charlie Cox, but I just mean if they were to do something like that, or even a multiverse version, like, would you? Because I mean, I think he could pull a version of that off.
I'm still holding out
Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I'm still holding out hope for Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck, I would much rather have. I don't think Brendan Thwaites has the acting chops to follow Charlie Cox in that role. Charlie Cox is phenomenal, and I'm not saying Thwaites is bad. He's good at what he's doing. I haven't seen anything that makes me think he should be the person to follow Charlie Cox.
So that's a good way to put it. I agree.
Yeah, I definitely don't see. I mean, the way he's portrayed, like he's perfect as Dick Grayson, but I don't know, Charlie Cox, even Ben Affleck to some extent, they had that kind of grizzled little bit of like, I've seen some stuff. I've been through some stuff at that point. I'm not saying Dick hasn't, but it just
Fuck Batman.
his demeanor and how it was. It's like, yeah, I'm not there yet with you.
They got more range as actors, Chris.
Yeah.
And with Daredevil, one of those costumes where it doesn't matter what you do, fight
Do
wise,
they have
choreography
range?
wise, picture
Like,
cover.
do they have the acting range though?
Are you asking if Charlie Cox has acting range? Did you just ask that?
Well, I thought we were talking about Titans.
Oh, okay.
No, we're
Oh,
talking
yeah.
against. We're talking
I was like, come on
Clay,
now.
Clay,
I thought
that's
you
against.
were-
That's against Titans. That's against Titans.
Okay, I was about to say, I was like, you need to chill out with that.
I think he might. I want to see him other stuff.
I enjoy him.
All I've seen him in is a terrible Pirates of the Caribbean movie. He was in the 5th one playing Will Turner's son, if you remember that. But like, and he was fine in that. But it's very similar to Robin, of like a boyish charm, like hero. So I'd like to see him in other things. But the rest of actors and Titans, I think they're decent people. But I don't think there's anyone that stands out as like really, really good. You know, like even the guy that plays Bruce Wayne, I like him in that role, but I don't think he's like, I'm not holding the flag for him to be like, man, he's the best actor going today. You know, he's like,
No,
okay.
he's better in Downton Abbey. But
And he was great in Game of Thrones.
Titans,
Yeah, thank you.
the acting on
Are we talking
Titans,
about Alfred?
like the acting on Titans is totally fine. Like there's nothing wrong with it. There's nobody who I'm like, God, they're horrible every time they're on screen. They suck the air out of the room. But give credit where it's due, like the Hawk and Dove episodes where you got like their past. Those were
Yes.
fantastic.
Yes.
Excellently acted.
Kelly.
Great stuff there. Just Charlie Cox level? No.
Yeah, but what you were saying earlier, I just man, I want Ben Affleck as Daredevil as a cameo. Just a cameo. I would love the end credit scene of Spider-Man No Way Home that Toby's goes back home and he's with Kirsten Dunst and their little baby, and he's like, oh, I just gotta go like talk to the lawyer quickly, and it's Ben Affleck, just like has a line or two, and then he goes off like, oh my goodness, like other than Hugh Jackman, like
Can we bring Jennifer Garner back too?
Think about it. Think about
Do
it.
it. Bring her
Toby.
back.
Having Toby isn't good enough for now. Like if you told him 2 years ago that they were going to have Toby, there wouldn't be question about anybody else in the movie. But this movie's gotten so big now. Snell's like, if you give me Ben Affleck as Daredevil, please.
I'm with
Man,
I'm with
this
those,
is-
I want
Just give
those
me Hugh
rumors of like
Jackman.
the Toby universe is like the Fantastic
Bring in
Four
Michael
and Hugh
Chiklis.
Jackman and everything
Yeah.
like that. Like, the same way
I
I
want to see the
want
foam thing.
Dolph Lundgren right there.
We'd get
Yes.
Thomas Jane, wouldn't we, in 2004 though? We'd get
he's
Thomas
in
Jane.
Thomas
Yeah.
Jane was
It-
the best Punisher, just saying.
So
No,
many
over
people.
Berthol?
Yes.
Stevenson was
Over
pretty good.
Berthol, no, you're wrong. Objectively
Yeah.
wrong.
No, I'm not
Ben
objectively
Affleck,
wrong.
so many
Most of-
people would be so
He's back in the
butthurt,
waiting
it'd be
room. He's
amazing.
back in the waiting room.
Yeah, we're out.
Just thinking like the internet would blow up if Ben Affleck came back even for a cameo. It'd be
That's,
no
that's
glorious.
not a sign. I'm just saying that freaking most of Berthol's lines were, well, freaking Jane was actually
I
able
love
to.
that facial expression. Do that
Yeah,
again.
that was good.
Come on,
I'm
one more
gonna
time.
need you to go rewatch.
Rick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Punisher. I think in
Watch Walking
Daredevil,
Dead.
sure, but Punisher season 1, he brings it. But I agree with you. If you were to ask me, like, if you're sitting in the theater and you had like, well, actually, no, Berthol would get a bigger reaction, but like Ben Affleck would get a bigger reaction than
The
John
biggest.
Berthol's Punisher.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I won't think the biggest.
100%.
I think if Hugh Jackman did come back
He'd
one
get a Hogan
time
pop.
he would. I think the people
He'd
that get
get
the
a Hogan
Hogan
pop.
I think Affleck would get a Hogan pop, Jackman would, and Ryan Reynolds too. If Ryan Reynolds popped as
Yeah.
Deadpool in Spider-Man,
Definitely. Or
100%.
Green Lantern. Mm.
Green Lantern,
He pops up as Green Lantern and Spider-Man. That'd be the biggest pop.
yeah,
Punches
that-
Doctor
wrong
Strange in the
universe.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh man. So Clay, we were talking about what was this thing, Nathan? You were showing him the thing. What was?
Oh
going
yeah,
on?
because Clay, I gave him shit the first couple times we recorded. I just noticed like a lot of times when he would make points, he'd go, here's the thing, here's the thing. So one day he
Oh.
said it on
It's become a
SES, and I popped it up and
huge-
said, no, here's the thing. And I popped it up too, and I've been giving him shit all the time. I'll send him pictures and memes of the thing, and he'll send me pictures like, and it's always here's the thing.
Oh yeah, we all do. Like me and Kirkland, we on our studio. I took them down now, but I have four walls. Clearly, that's usually what a room has. But like they
What?
all had
You don't live in a
paper.
cubicle?
They all had a paper and taped the wall. It would say, "Don't say like so much," because me and Kirkland say like so many goddamn times on a podcast, and it was everywhere in the room. Like I was fucking living in Memento. Like we can't do this. We can't say like. And I think I still say it. Because I think it was one time someone gave us like a 1-star for saying like too much. It was like, okay, we'll try, but like I a 1-star for it's.
Well, it's the same way Joe says too many times. and
Oh,
has
I
many
know.
underscores.
What's in his name?
He's embracing it though. His Twitter name's on actually.
Fucking obnoxious handle. God, I just want to
Oh,
punch it
deal
in the
with it.
fucking handle face every time I hear
Whine
come
about
on there.
it.
I know. It's what I do.
I don't know if you
girlfriend
can
gave it
speak
to
with
me.
wobbly boots. Yours doesn't make much more sense either.
Sure. It
Yeah,
does.
but he-
Sure it
well-
does. I'll send you the video of me dancing. You'll totally get
Okay.
it. It'll totally make sense.
And actually makes sense for me. I correct people even when I'm wrong.
Good point. Good point.
Standard white guy. Got it.
Yep. Thanks, Brett.
I didn't say it, but okay.
Dick.
Oh man,
I'm
Clay,
Italian, sir.
we didn't actually introduce you yet. How are you doing tonight? And what do you want to complain about DC tonight as well?
Yeah.
So I was actually watching / listening to you guys on my drive. I had picked up some food with my wife.
Were you using
And
data?
when you guys, what?
Are you using data when you do that?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a lot of data.
That's
Watching
not a
YouTube
thing in
video?
America.
That's
Is it
really
not?
a thing.
I
No.
got unlimited data.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right, my
Yeah.
phone.
Travis, even I have unlimited
24/7.
data, and I live in the same town as you.
I don't need to pay for unlimited data. We have Wi-Fi at fucking
Do you-
urinals nowadays, and you're paying for unlimited
what?
data?
Snell, do you
Yeah,
wait till
that's-
9 o'clock to call people when your minutes are cheaper?
3 nights a week.
Those rollover texts.
Oh God, I feel old.
But anyways, you were saying, Clay.
So when you guys said, "Oh, the GUA chat is usually just Clay hating," Abby just immediately turned to me and she said, "Typical." I was like, "God damn it!"
Ah, damn it.
I thought I've torched DC lately, but I caught up on your last 2 episodes of DC Alliance today, and holy shit, do you hate them?
Yeah.
Well,
No,
remember,
I
it's
don't
Warner
hate
Brothers.
DC.
It's not
It's
DC.
Warner
It's Warner
Brothers.
Brothers.
It's
Yeah.
Would
Warner
you
Brothers.
how would you feel if Disney bought DC? No one else, just straight Disney bought DC as is. How would you feel about that?
I wouldn't be bothered by it because they would know how to take care of the characters.
Fair enough.
There
You know
would be
That-
so
We
many.
would get an
record.
amalgam
Track
universe. We would get an amalgam universe, and that's worth the price of admission right there. So if they did buy DC, like we could get the amalgam universe, I'm in.
Can they buy?
Give me
DC?
some Dark
Like,
Claw.
is it like
We-
it wouldn't be a monopoly?
Well,
What
there
can
was
they
a
do?
rumor
It's
that
not a
they were
monopoly.
trying in
Me and
2016.
Brent talked about this
Yeah,
very,
from
very
we got
briefly.
this covered.
We
No,
I was complaining to people on TikTok for like a straight week.
What?
You do?
Uh,
What? Since when?
When
Get outta here.
when the rumors were coming out that Disney was attempting to buy DC recently. Apparently, they were trying to buy DC back in 2016.
Yeah, like legitimately buy them actually,
yeah.
and that's crazy to think that like the year after Age of Ultron, we had no idea, but they're trying to buy DC like right before
The
Justice
year after
League.
Age of Ultron, the year of BVS and Civil War. That's
Yeah,
what it
exactly.
is.
That's weird to think about it that way. It's like
Which, with
imagine that BVS comes out
yeah.
and then 3 months later, it's like yeah, Kevin Feige's now running the
with the
DCU.
knee-jerk reactions of WB, I'm surprised it didn't happen. Like,
Well, I think they thought like this was
It's
good.
not
like,
even about it's not even about knee jerk reaction. They were in a terrible financial state, like terribly.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
AT&T just.
No, I don't think they will now. I believe people when people say like an Amazon or an Apple one day. Obviously, Discovery has them now. We'll see how that goes. I just like judging by the name
Amazon,
and
they
the
rule
logo,
the world.
we're not off to a great start. But who knows? That could just be a holder right now. But you know what? I can't not get excited for the Supergirl photos today. And you know Gal Gadot's on a bus, so that's cool.
I
Like
can't
that-
wait until the official picture for Supergirl. That's
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
look awesome.
That suit's gonna look great.
If
I'm very-
that's in universe, like if Wonder Woman's going to visit children's hospitals in the universe, that's awesome.
Mhm. I want to see the Batflick
I
bus
agree.
now of him going to the hospital. And it's
Yeah.
like, which ones are for sale? And then
He said, "Look at all these Robins."
yeah. Pick, but guess what? I got a whole army of them.
Yeah.
The mutants can't take me down.
One
I
of
got
one of
so
my
many.
favorite memes is from BVS comes out the extended where the kids are all on the line and it's just been like over it just on the top says, "Ooh, look at all these Robins to pick from." I fucking lost it the first, and I think of that every time I see Batman with like interact with kids in comics or in any medium now.
Speaking of Rob, do you guys remember in 2016? So like BVS comes out and they're talking about, oh, there's gonna be a 3-hour DVD cut. Do you remember how everyone was convinced that Jenna Malone was gonna be
Yes.
Carrie
Carrie
Kelly?
Fisher.
Carrie
Keller.
Carrie Fisher.
Carrie
She
Fisher.
could be
Yeah,
Princess
Carrie
Leia.
Yeah. But,
I
like,
had
everybody-
to slip out, didn't it?
Everybody was convinced. I remember getting that movie and putting it in and be like, man, she's just a lab tech.
Yeah,
I
it's like a
know.
2-minute scene. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay.
2 years. For
Yeah.
2 years, the argument was, oh, she's gonna be Carrie Kelly. Oh no, she's gonna be Barbara, or you know, she's gonna be some random person.
but she was going to be a Bat family member.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Do you remember the rumors of Wonder
Scoot
Woman
McNairy?
being Kryptonian?
Oh yeah, I do.
Oh
actually.
shit!
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
Those
remember
were
that.
old. So that was basically right when the teaser trailer for BVS was announced at San Diego Comic-Con. There, like around that time, there was rumors of Wonder Woman gonna be like in the film, and like I remember the Screen Rant article that was titled Wonder Woman. It was like Wonder Woman becomes Kryptonian or something like that, and the article stated that she was a descendant of ancient Kryptonians. So like
That's
it was
crazy.
just super weird. Yeah.
My favorite looking back on it was Scoot McNairy because he ends up getting paralyzed in the movie in a wheelchair. But remember, the set photos are
Yeah.
of him with green leggings, like CGI green leggings. And everyone's like, he's the Flash.
Everybody,
Yeah, because he's running
Yeah.
so fast. He's going so fast. They had to CGI his legs.
And then when you get to the movie, it's like, oh no, they just had to take his legs off.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like it's just
Hey,
it's so funny.
What great
for him.
upper body strength though. The way he climbs up Superman like that with no legs, like what a fucking animal, just right up there.
Oh yeah, he was going for it. But it's so funny, like looking back at rumors, so many, and like I remember too the rumors that BVS was going to be split into 2 movies. It was like
Yep.
Dawn of Justice and another title. I can't remember what it was, but there's just so much stuff like speculation around at that point, and not that there isn't nowadays. Look at No Way Home; everyone's just running whatever they can, saying, "Oh, how are the Ducks in this movie?" But like those were
Except for
We just
Willem
need to
Dafoe.
follow
Except for
Alfred
Willem
Molina.
Dafoe, he can keep a secret.
he did good today. He did good, and he's like, "Yeah, I got stuff going on. I can't talk about." Oh, there goes Brent's
That was me.
July 1st. July
That was
1st.
me.
Batman's gonna be behind him with a brand, looking to get him and stuff like that. So
That one was me.
July. Oh yeah, July. I hope we get that trailer July 1st.
Can't
I don't
wait
think
to
we'll
see
see
the
any. Of the,
There's a lot of speculation on that date, and it makes a lot of sense. So it'll probably not happen.
Because
Right.
the movie's coming out in December.
Hey, if
Because-
if
Brent,
Brent
because
says
the
it's not
movie's
going to
coming in
happen, it
December.
means it's going to happen. So
It's on Canada Day. Happy Canada Day, yes. You know, Kirkland Hines. You know.
Ew.
Is that like your 4th of July?
Yeah, it is. But we're
Yeah.
not. Well, we're not doing it for 2 reasons. Like lots of people places aren't doing it. 1, because something really bad happened in Canada, so some people are striking it, and 2, just because COVID, lots of people aren't doing like fireworks and stuff like that. So I'm working it. I chose to work.
I think I'm working it as well.
Yeah, like I'm not doing anything, so why not go late and maybe I can just
Kirkland,
keep. Go ahead.
Please tell me your first job was at a Kirkland's convenience store, please, because I just what I want to be true in my head. I don't know why, but ever since I heard, like, I just want that to be so true. I'm like 16-year-old you're like pushing carts at a Kirkland with your name tag all that says Kirkland. I want that to be true.
Sounds like
I
a
don't have a
Still could be
convenience
true.
store, Kirkland. It's just like Costco, right?
Yeah.
The Kirkland
Yeah,
brand.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So no, that was not the case. My
Damn it,
first
you
job was in
shattered.
the
I'm
kitchen.
sorry. I'm
My
sorry.
phone still autocorrects your name to the Costco Kirkland, like Kirkland. Like it's still.
No,
used to it.
you could just fix that, right?
Yeah, but I'm just lazy, Brent. I'm lazy. You know, I'm just like I'll get around to it. Then I never do. So
Britt
it's,
always says these things that's like, oh, you can change this, you can do that, and I'm just like, I'm looking at this thing, and I'm just like, how?
Oh,
Brent
he's
is
an
the tech
iPhone
mogul.
master. Yeah, oh,
He
yeah.
is like he's
do it.
listening to tech podcasts and like he's like,
SIT.
like the
Used to
Apple
have a tech
announcements is like a
podcast. I don't know if
birthday
anybody
for him.
remembers that. Britt had like a 3-episode Apple podcast or something.
oh
It
yeah
was more than 3, but
with
yeah.
Frank or something, right? Or-
Yeah, Frank from Beer with Geeks and
Yeah.
Supergirl TV. Yeah, we just decided to record the conversations we were having anyway.
Yeah, that's like podcasting in general. Like
I
go
talked
back-
with him today about that stuff.
Yeah,
Nice.
I go back and listen to like with us, Kirk, and we just said E3, and that was like our inspiration for it. But when I've heard like the very first year stuff, oh my god, like it's crazy how much has changed everything like that. What about Chris? I'll start with you. How did you get it? Like, what was the jumping off point? Like, okay, I'm gonna start World's Finest True Believers. Like, when did that actually happen? Like, I know it's inspired by a few, but people might be listening for the first time with the one.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? I'm gonna ask everyone the same question. So prepare yourselves.
I mean, the inspirations are obvious in Squadcast and you know, Lisa with I Love That Movie and Dave and Jason from DC on Screen. But I kind of, as I say in the intro episode, I hadn't found a podcast that kind of like went into the depths of why these arcs came about and the history behind the writers and things like that, because that stuff, being a former history teacher, that stuff always fascinates me, because I think I I appreciate the stories more going into it, knowing what's behind it. So since I couldn't find anything like that out there, I just kind of struck out and put it out there, you know? And so yeah. And so, yeah, the rest is history at that point.
Yeah, 50 episodes you've passed, sir. Congrats again on that.
Yeah.
That's a big milestone and whatnot. How does it go for, because like I know Katie, she might pop in later tonight, but how do you go about, you're like, okay, I'm gonna do this podcast, I'm gonna have a guest like every 2 weeks. How was that to start off with? Because I feel like that's a tough job to me. Like I know every week I'm like, I gotta text Kirkland or Taylor like, hey, you have to be here at this time, and one of them's gonna have to show up, but you gotta rely on other people to be, show up and be ready and like be half decent as well,
it's a lot of trust at that point,
Yeah.
for the most part, pretty much everyone except for Kirkland's been on. So I'm looking on this, like,
yeah, you gotta
like
get read some
here right
comics,
now.
Kirkland.
But
I'm getting there. Comic book versions.
I did what I used to my advantage, the people that, my podcasting friends at that point, and just kind of started off there. And then listeners, when I always say like, hey, message me, things like that. I think there's been 1 or 2 times when it just didn't work out. Like either the guest kind of went MIA on me, which really sucks, or one time where their equipment was just malfunctioned to the extent of, all right, we're out at that point. But I've gotten to a point with the show where, like right now, upcoming episode, Mark, Clay, who Clay works with at that point, he's coming on in July, and looking at one thing I recommended to him a while back, and he just loved it at that point. So
you saved him from freaking giving up comics. I'm just gonna tell you that.
Oh, shoot!
Nice.
Nice.
He was honestly feeling dead inside with how DC has been going.
I didn't think I had that much power, but all right.
Well, he's really big. He's really big into indie stuff. And he just wasn't hearing a lot of buzz about his books. So when you recommended that to him, it like brought new life into him reading.
What book?
I can't. I'm not saying it because I'd rather. It's a really good one. It is one.
So you want to keep it to yourself, huh?
I'm going to keep it to myself. But it definitely was a life changing. It was a life changing book for me as well when it was recommended.
What if my life wants to be changed?
It's the Bible.
Change my life.
It'll have to be changed in July.
But it's been fun just because it's given me a chance from books I've never read before. Like Day for DC on Screen, his upcoming one in about a month is gonna. It was one I never would have thought ever to read. Jim did The Paybacks. I'd never read that, but I'm a big fan of Donny Cates.
That was when I heard that episode. I need to go.
You
find
got
that.
him to actually jump onto somebody else's podcast. So bravo, you.
Oh yeah. he might appear tonight, but he's in the middle of recording right now, so we'll see. But Jim is the busiest fucking guy in the world. Like the amount of content I've talked to many times about stuff, and like the amount of podcasts he's doing is just, it's ridiculous. It's not even that, but like, please do a favor. One, they got a great Patreon, but two, look at how much they put out on that Patreon. Oh my God, Jim is just a machine. And I asked him, he says he doesn't sleep, and I go, well, respect, because that used to be my life.
50 plus episodes every month.
Yeah.
And
that's
only on the Patreon. There's also, he has a Marvel podcast and a DC podcast.
Manga too.
And the manga too. Yeah.
Oh, and the manga.
The manga one, yeah.
Oh, sorry, manga.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. Yeah.
Don't want to get
put some respect on it.
That's right.
And the thing I'll say is, like, not only meeting the community and other people, but people that I've looked up to in this community, and pretty much all of you on here at that point, getting like, I was out of town when Scott reached out to me out of the blue when I was first starting and said, hey, I want to come on. That was like, I don't know. I was thinking, oh my gosh, someone I look up to recognizes wants to come on, without even being asked. So those moments, and then Clay and I going down like just haphazardly into the creator spotlights. That was something I thought about, and doing that has been kind of JMD Mateus. It's just those kind of opportunities that I've enjoyed, and it's been a fun ride.
So I got the last
You
question.
did a very good job, sir.
Yeah, those creator
Very good
spotlights are
shows.
really good. Yeah.
Mhm.
I got
Yeah,
the-
you're very like seriously. I'm not trying to just because you're a part of the network, but like your shows are one of some of the best and well put together, and like you pay very well respect to everybody involved in the story. And, like I
The
got to-
amount of research
my hat's
and
off.
time Chris spends on his
Exactly. That's what I mean.
questions. He's like, hey, I sent you the notes, and I'm like, okay, and it's like, I'm like, oh, okay, I have to read 900
tell he's
books
an
in 3
educator.
days. Let's go ahead and do this.
You can tell he's an educator. He's like, he wants you to be very detailed and know everything.
Yeah. Well, it's still to this day. I've been podcasting for about 2.5 years now. It's still to this day the show that I go on that I'm the most intimidated by being on. I love being on your show, but I'm so intimidated. Like I feel like I'm going to sound so stupid. And I probably do, but it's always
my
a great game.
one episode. I was the same way. I'm like, all right, I got to do this because Chris is a professional.
Right.
I got to be on my best behavior. I'm going to watch what I say. Like I was in there like just. Like my little schoolboy outfit on and stuff. Like it's yeah, I agree.
Every episode, every guest has done a very good job. I think, and I'm not saying one because you can't even tell. There is only one episode where I think the guest kind of even at the end of the show off air said they felt bad because they didn't prepare as well, but they had been on before, so they just felt bad about it. But you'd never tell by the episode, so.
Well,
No, it's
your
not
show
you, Joe.
notes.
It's no one. It's no one on this group at that point.
That's why I haven't
They
been
all
asked back,
say.
guys. That's why I haven't been asked back. I get it.
You know
Why?
it's you because you said it, but the show notes that you do for Marvel Alliance are fantastic.
Yeah,
Absolutely fantastic.
that's
God,
where
what are you
it's-
going to do in 2 weeks when I'm not there? Hopefully,
Yeah,
pending a
Brent,
we're
COVID
gonna
test. Because
wing
Monday
it.
I get my
We're gonna
COVID
wing
test.
it.
We're gonna wing it. Me
Yeah.
and Brent are gonna get a wheel and we're just gonna spin it, and whatever topic comes up, we're talking about it. I'm like, oh, jackpot again.
Do it.
Doing
Do it.
SCS.
Throw everything out the
That's
window.
the Greg and Nathan form of
That's
podcast.
what we do in
We got a
SCS,
2.5
yeah,
hour
exactly.
episode
No,
coming out.
I agree. That's like when I started doing Marvel Alliance with Chris, I was very lucky, and even Wonder Meg says that she was impressed how like prepared you were, Chris. So
Thank you.
praise from everybody. But even
Yes.
to this day, at Geek First, we're like somewhat prepared, but Taylor's like literally making the thumbnail like last minute. He's like, do that,
Right.
change that, take that, and he's always
Then he gets
pissed
his
at me.
dinner. He's got his dinner.
Yeah,
ready.
he's eating his like we're so. Then when I see Chris, he has like this nice edited email. It's all formatted. Where I just send them a screenshot of my notepad. Like this is what we're talking about. Yeah, we're talking about Matt Reeves being kidnapped by Rob Passon. Go,
Oh,
you know.
Chris's show's the only show I actually actively made notes while reading my like going back over my issue of that one. I'm like writing stuff down so I could be as prepared. It's like no shooting from the hip. I wanted to have bullet points and shit to talk about.
See, in doing the flipped episode for the 50th at that point with Jordan, that was saying, oh God, this is what people feel like going on my
Yeah.
show. Oh well.
So Chris,
Pressure's on.
I have to ask you. You know, someone comes down with an Infinity Gauntlet, whatever it may be, and they say you get your one wish, the genie. They say you can only pick one person though for the creator spotlight. You get one. You know, maybe you'll get some more down the line, but what would be your ultimate? This is the person that you've written comics or read their comics that you would want to talk to the most.
I'm gonna go with someone. I have to go with someone alive because like dead at that point doesn't.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a very, very bad interview. I'm just gonna be one-sided. I'm just gonna
Ouija
say
board.
if they died,
They're
it's gonna be a
quiet.
one-sided interview.
Ouija board.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah.
Weekend at Bernie's.
Mhm. Yes.
I'll pick
Super
one
quiet.
from each. I'll pick one from each side of the big two. Pick one from each side for the big two, just to be fair.
He's talking
Way
about
to
Marvel and
cop
Dark
out
Horse,
so you don't have
folks.
to pick
Oh, Image. I'd say Image is above.
Those are
I know,
Clay's.
that's what I was
Image,
thinking.
there's way too many.
Yeah.
Image,
Those are
there's way too
Clay's.
many.
Those are Clay's big two. Those are Clay's big two.
I would do Chris Claremont because
Yes.
I'm one of the biggest X-Men fan out there, and just not even his impact on that, but Chris Claremont would be amazing, and Jim Lee.
So you just want to
in
talk
the
about
sense-
X-Men the whole time then?
Yeah, that's-
I get it. He just wants to talk about
Yeah.
the Claremont
And
Lee
Jim,
run.
and
I
Jim
get
Lee
it.
covers a lot of ground too, from going from Marvel, basically saying "F you" to Marvel, starting Image, and then going and now running DC, basically.
Hey, I like those Batman drawings, but tell me more about the X-Men. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back 20 years or 30. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
draw
very
me a
well.
Dark Claw? Can you do that for
Yes.
me?
Ooh, that'd
Yes,
be
I'm
nice.
telling you, that'd be the only reason why I'd like
Yeah.
Disney to buy DC is because we get the Amalgam universe. A
The
Dark
only
Claw
reason,
would be
yeah.
awesome.
Dark
Awesome.
Claw.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Those would be the two.
Well,
and Super Soldier.
I know a little bit, and I'm going in the order of just where my screen is. But Kirkland, I know a little bit. But for viewers, why did we actually like? I know why we started the podcast, but why did you even agree to it? You know, like that. That's my question.
I don't even know. I think I was just like in the mood that day. I'm like, sure, let's just do it.
As you can see, but in like when we're podcasting, you're listening to Geek First, Kirkland really talked about like when we started, you were the quietest of the group. You didn't say much in there. Like I had always to edit your audio up and whatnot, but it's just like. We just found each other at the right time, I guess, podcasting. We just wanted to talk.
Aww.
And it was like, I guess, an excuse for us all to hang out. And now it's like an actual machine. People expect an episode. And if we don't, they tweet us, like, hey, what's going on? But like,
yeah, we were just working together, and then once Target Canada just ceased to exist, we needed another excuse to hang out and just talk about stuff that we were talking about at work. So it kind of worked out that way. And then
is Target Canada different than Target America? Like,
yeah, it sucked. That's what.
Yeah, it sucked, and now it's no longer a thing.
They opened up because I've worked at when Best Buy opened here and Target. I've seen a Best Buy still going. I've seen how you can do a great opening and then a bad opening. Target, like they had no stock. They really like their employees was not trained people. They had like a week of training. They're like, go Best Buy. I got hired and they're like, yeah, well, you're gonna be training for 3 months, which I didn't need to. I didn't need to like train 3 months of like, oh, here's why you should get our extended warranty. But still, at least I knew what it was. Target, no one knew what they were doing. We had no stock, and I think it closed down in what, like under a year, Kirkland, right? I think when it opened.
Damn.
Target.
Yeah. I want to say under 2 for sure.
Yeah.
What they do with those big red balls out front?
They painted over them.
Phrasing.
Yeah, they're still
They
there.
did. A gym bought it. A gym bought it, and they just painted them green. They're just there. And they don't stand out at all. But yeah, we were just talking about movies and Marvel, and that's how we're
So
still
the
here.
Hulk
And then
got castrated.
oh yeah, oh god, yeah. And then in a month we're on our 6th year, which is crazy. So that's
Damn.
half a
Yeah.
dozen. So.
And just like doing the podcast, I feel like just dissecting movies, I just really grew to appreciate like films more. And like I always liked like comic book movies and stuff, but I never like understood how deep it was. And like I feel like I didn't know what the MCU was like forming at the time until I was like talking about it with you. Yeah. So yeah, it was just something that I'm really fortunate to have been a part of, because I've just grown so much as a person, being able to just like speak my thoughts and like being able to dissect films and stuff, and just having so much fun, and just a fun thing to do.
And you
So,
didn't
yeah.
even say like in that whole paragraph there. So good on you.
Nice.
Like, I'm learning. Yeah, I still got the sign
Yeah.
up here. Don't say like.
What about you, Brent? So, like, I know you've had like a different journey. How did you get linked up with Squadcast, just even to begin with? Like, when, same thing for you. When did you go, okay, I'm gonna buy a microphone, I'm gonna start talking to people about movies we watch, and then we're gonna talk longer than the runtime.
Right?
Yeah,
Well,
that too.
I had kind of decided I just wanted to try. Like I was listening to podcasts all the time. I actually started listening to podcasts because of the 2008 presidential election. Of all
Oh, really?
things. That's how I started
Interesting.
listening to
All
the
right.
format. But regardless, by around, I was actually just looking it up. I was on through Patreon an episode of Arrow TV Talk
I
in
knew it.
September of 2015, and
DCTV.
that's also the same way Scott got hooked up with Tim. Tim was listening and he heard me on there and reached out to me. And prior to that, around that time, I had started, but it came out a little before that, my own little solo show that I was messing with, and where I just talked about comic book television shows, not just DC, but Shield, Walking Dead, whatever I was watching. Don't go try looking for it. I've pretty much scrubbed it from the internet.
What
But
a dick move.
I tried.
those are short little episode things, but around that time, Tim heard me on Arrow TV Talk. He reached out to me and asked basically if I would fill in on an episode of what was then the Suicide Squadcast, because his co-host Scott was expecting a baby in X number of months. And the funny thing about that was I was pretty close to the same timeline expecting a baby. But I was like, yeah, it'll work, whatever. So I just became like the third person on that network. And it just kind of blew up from there. We did DC TV. Like interview doesn't feel like the right word, but I guess it's effectively what it was. Tim talked to a few people about potential co-host DC, and then I met with Ray, talked with over Skype for a long time, and I looked it up. Our first episode of DC TV dropped, so my first time officially releasing with Ray dropped in August 2016 at the end of the month. So we're coming up on 5 years of that, and so when the show was over everything was done for the season, we did Fans, and quickly it became apparent to me that Fans was the better show. And sorry, Heinz, I know you like DCTV more.
Not anymore because
but-
of the DCCW's did to me. So, yeah.
But there was a lot of talk. Like Fans initially was going to just be for the summer, and then like Tim was real skeptical about us whether or not we should keep doing it because he didn't want us to get burned out on doing 2 shows or whatever, which obviously eventually happened to me. But I mean that just snowballed into doing Fans. I mean, up until recently it was weekly, and we were probably 49 to 50 episodes a year for the first several years. Didn't take a lot of time off, and the ones we did were usually holidays, or I don't know. I missed an episode because my appendix was taken out, and
that's
allowed.
Yeah,
I missed a DCTV episode because I had laryngitis, but I was on the recording to take notes for the edit because I still put it together.
Just sitting there.
Yeah, I was just sitting there and whispering to him before and after, basically. But yeah, here we are. So now
all right.
I joined you guys just so I could get in your group chat. That's all.
Exactly. He wanted all the.
He is not. He is not lying about that. He was literally.
I
waiting
wanted
the
in the
moment,
group chat.
The moment
I'm
we
like, let
made
me
the
in.
announcement.
I think it sounded like fun, and you know what? I'm sorry if you're not in it. It is fun. It is fun in there.
It's always going.
It is always going. I spend more time there than I do elsewhere on Twitter, and honestly, that's good for my sanity.
That is so true.
I talk about all this stuff in that chat more than I do anywhere else online right now.
Well, it's so funny because when we announced it, we're like, okay, well, we're going to keep it a secret, though. So you're going to have to wait still a few weeks because we didn't want to spoil it. So we're like, yeah, you'll wait a little bit longer.
Called it day one.
You
So
did.
that.
Heinz did too, but me and Chris, I think, did a good job of talking him out of it, everything like that. I'm like, oh, no, I really wish he would.
Why would he want to do 3 shows?
Yeah.
Something had to give.
I tell you,
That's
3
the
weekly shows was a lot. 3 weekly. I'm now at 1 weekly show and 1 bi-weekly show. I'm like, man, I feel like I got all the time in the world.
Britt, I loved the show, and I loved it when both of y'all were doing it. But just imagine in today's climate of the CW if you were doing DCTV as well.
That'd be brutal.
Oh, God.
I mean, he's so behind on it too, but I don't even know what Ray's thought of the last few stuff. I watched Legends today, and I finished Black Lightning today, and so I'm chipping away. I'm catching up, but I got it here in a couple of weeks. My family will be out of town, but I will still be home because I have to work, and so I will probably catch up. I mean, really, who's on vacation?
Right, a vacation. Nice.
It's the week Black Widow comes out, for the record. So I'll be doing just fine.
Crazy.
I'll be doing just fine. But
Yeah, coincidentally.
I was thinking taking the kids to go visit my sister. Yeah, go
Oh,
do it.
Let's go this week.
No,
week.
please.
Perfect
He goes,
week,
no,
yeah.
please.
Perfect
Oh
timing.
no.
Yeah, he
But-
made us sound like, no, honey, I'll miss you too much.
Yeah, I'm still watching DCTV. I'm trying. It's a chore, and I can tell I'm getting close to. I mean, if Diggle doesn't fucking become Green Lantern, I'm done. I'm just done.
Oh,
Well,
not
well,
going
you're at the
to.
good
I'm
word.
sorry.
I've read what he said, but that doesn't mean jack. They're not going to tell you, oh yeah, he gets the
there's-
ring in the 3rd appearance and he takes it
Right.
off, and they're not going to
There's
tell
more
you
and
that
more
stuff.
people.
The
There's more
only
and more
thing I
people
can-
talking about how like he's gonna inspire all these heroes, and then that like awakens his calling to be like, you know what, maybe I can be a hero too, and then he puts on the ring.
see, the
Charlie
only
wasn't
reason I
here.
can
Sigh.
see,
Good
the only
writing.
reason I can see that he
Sigh.
becomes Green Lantern is like the Flash is having that big crossover. Well, not well.
No, they're
each
having
episode-
5 little
They're small
crossovers.
crossovers.
Yeah. Well, big in terms of five episodes in total for the Flash. So I think we
Big,
could see
big
him
for
come back
anything the Flash has done in the last.
Okay,
5
Clay.
years.
Yeah. Clay's going
Hey,
to buy.
Dynamite
Clay.
comes in small packages, guys.
That break dancing was pretty big. I don't know. I think that's at the.
I haven't got to that one yet, but oh man, I'm
Ooh.
looking forward to it.
Well,
It's been
so
rough
funny.
being a Flash fan.
Well, and I'm sure like we'll hear about from these guys too, but it's so funny. I feel like I talked to so many people that like either really started listening to podcasts or started interested in getting in them in that 2015 2016 era, and I think it's like a combination of like MCU's going strong and then BVS was starting up, so like the universe was starting, and I think like everyone had a thought, everyone had an opinion, and it's probably a combination of people watched a lot of podcasts that hated the people or their opinions on there, so they thought I just got to get in there, I got to say something, and I almost did in 2014, but I like my fiance was telling me like, nah, no one will listen, I'm not gonna do that, like, and Taylor kind of was the one that fully convinced us. So I was like, oh, we could really do it. Like, okay, sure. But then and luckily it's panned out, been really fun. But for a while I was like, no, I don't see it happening. And yeah, being around 2016, that was a fun time because when we just started there, Kirkland, that BVS was the first time we got review bombed. And I can't believe it because Taylor gave that movie like a 9.5. You and I both gave it an 8, but because there were a few people that didn't like it. It was like that was my first year of Marvel dick sucker, and I have it still screenshotted.
That's graphic.
Yeah, that's what I got. They post on the Facebook.
Yes.
They're really mad. They're really mad. So, but what about you, Joe? When did you get into all this madness and start all your shows up?
So it was probably around the 15-16 time frame when I was
the new blood
thinking. Like I was even debating it because I'm like, you know what? I'm listening to podcasts. Been listening to a good amount since like 2013 or something. No, probably about 2010. And I just kind of kept adding. And I'm like, you know what? I could do a podcast, I think. And then my original thought was to cover it was either going to be like comic book TV shows or comic book movies. And then I came across the podcast that actually did that. And I'm like, well, I guess we don't need to have 2 of those podcasts out there. Little did I know.
Now there's 6,000.
Exactly. And I'm doing it myself. No, so I waited. And it wasn't until about 2018. Yeah. When I actually started. Ironically enough, I had talked about it for years, and my girlfriend ended up starting a podcast. And she was covering documentaries on like Netflix and all that. It was called What's in the Queue. It was a fun podcast. She had a blast with it. And they only did maybe 40 episodes, something like that. And then it was her and her best friend.
Only. Yeah, that's a pretty good achievement. That's a damn good achievement for podcasting.
They got almost a year. And then her friend moved to Hawaii, and so they just stopped.
So she
but
said
I think
aloha.
The show no. Well, yes. The show's still out there if you guys want to check it out. It's called What's in the Queue. It's a really good show, I think, anyway, but I might be a little biased. So she started it, and it was one of those things where I kept talking about it, and she beat me to the punch. And I'm like, well, fuck, I'll do this. I got this. And I've told the story to a few different people. I think a few of them here. My original plan for the show, for Comic Book Rundown, was going to be a comic book story arc every episode. So the episode, well, actually, it was going to be 2 story arcs an episode. And the episodes were going to be like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. And it just didn't work. I had a friend early on who told me, well, why don't you just cut them up by issues? Like each episode's an issue. I'm like, that's a damn good idea.
More manageable.
And so like
too.
if you listen to those first, I think like 10 arcs, because I recorded everything before I even started putting everything out. Those first 10 arcs are cut up so oddly. It's because we recorded everything together. And I still record everything together, but I spread it out now to where each, a few of you guys can attest to that. Each issue is about 10 to 20 minutes long. And then, edit up a little bit. But that started, like I said, in 2018. And then I've kicked on a few different other segments where I am now covering comic book movies and TV shows. And then I have another one where I'm having just people on to just talk, just have a good like hour talk of whatever. And it's been a blast. Podcasting, I'm not gonna say it's become an obsession, but I definitely do like it. It's fun.
Yeah. Oh, you meet lots of people too. Look at this.
Yeah, there's that. And then you have ideas for other ones like Clay, and just have 18 that you do.
That's the problem. That is, I agree 100%. At Geek First, the very first year, we had a Netflix show that we were like, we'd watch movies. When they used to have the rating, we would watch only movies that were under 2.5. So they had to be fail. So that was the gimmick of that show. We had a comic book show. Taylor had Assassin's Creed show. We had like so much, and then eventually you get to that point where it's just like we can't keep doing these all. Like there's too
I
many. Like,
I mean,
that's how the podcast got boring because like, oh, we should actually meet people who can do these shows and do them better than us too. Then that's the thing. But this was year one because it's just like, yeah, we want to talk about this. We want to talk about this. It's just like
there's so like my whole thing is I got into comics from the Death of Superman and Batman Nightfall. Those are the two storylines that I know damn near the best. And like I'm going to like maybe I'm going to have a really, really fun moment when I get to those storylines when we cover them. But at the same time, I'm also putting out 3 episodes a week. Like it's that's just the main show. That's not including, the rundown reviews or the small screens. Like I think at one point I actually had like 6 episodes coming out one week, and it's. I mean, the good thing is I am coming up to episode 500 on the main show here soon.
Oh, congrats!
I think in like October.
Congratulations!
But again, that's 500 issues that we've read.
Yeah,
and we actually Ron and I have a fun idea of what we're going to do for our 500th episode. I'll wait. I'll let people listen.
There you go. There's a subtle
tease. Right.
Yeah. So, well, no, that's the thing. I feel like too. So many times we all started or did start podcasts when we were like less busy. So it's like when you do all that content, but then when life does get busier, that's when it's like, oh, I never accumulated for this. Like when I had my first kid, that's when everything changed as far as like I could podcast anytime, didn't matter, do that. Like it's just my fiance got it. We had our fun, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with my friends, do that. But then once you have a kid, it's like, nope, you gotta be here all the time. You gotta be that. That's why we podcast a lot later now. And
thankfully my kids are older. Like my daughter is 14 and she just stays up in the room and plays on her Switch. I think she's watching YouTube all the time. And then my girlfriend's daughter is 10 and does about the same thing. She watches Hamilton like over and over again. I don't know.
That's crazy. 14, 10, the same age my kids are too. And you're right. That's what they do. They just watch YouTube.
They're on their tablets. That's all they ever do anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. So Heinz, we've reached the 1 year. I feel like is this the time we finally talk about the Birds of Prey box office and how well or poor it did?
I really like that movie. I really like that movie.
I think only the SES people might remember that.
That's a Suicide Squad. And if it was successful or not.
Me and Heinz got into a huge debate.
No, Mr. Bingo. Mr. Bingo came in.
Here we go. This is a preview of our chats, ladies and gentlemen. This is basically how it all starts. You're seeing it live.
Mr. Bingo came in and gaslit myself and Snell's conversation and put it from a 2 to a 10 instantly. And literally probably a month later, I was joining the network, but I was only doing one show. Like I'm like Survivor here. Like the last man standing.
Didn't you like block each other at one point? You guys got so
we unfollowed each other.
Like
we unfollowed.
And then we were both like, this is a stupid argument.
Yeah.
You get
we
it.
look back at the thing. We're like, okay, that was a little bit gaslit.
Oh yeah.
Jesus. It got so out of hand. It was unfriend and block. It's over between us.
I have a fun time talking because we just talked about on Geek for a me and Taylor for our Jurassic World 2 review. We both had it out and we were like, I'm not being on the review. I'm not being on the review either. And Dylan always makes jokes like for a whole week, and I thought that was the end of Geek First.
I was pissed. I'm never pissed. I was pissed at that. I was forced to watch that movie for the review.
Yeah, we're like, oh, watch it. And yeah.
That's not the one with the dinosaur looking at Alan.
No, it was Jurassic World 2,
right?
Fallen Kingdom. Yeah, because I'm
still haven't watched that one yet.
Taylor, I have to ask you because Taylor, you joined. You've changed 3 locations, and what are you doing right now? And I feel like you're not going to be with us long because I don't trust your internet connection.
Do you know something I don't? Am I sick? Am I not going to make it?
No, I feel like that connection is not the strongest there. So
it's questionable.
It's questionable. Well, all we're talking about, and I'll let you say your piece because just in case you fucking just drop out here, what we're just talking about. Why did you ever get inspired to do podcasts in general? I told them a little bit, like we all met Target and stuff like that, and we had E3, so we're like, oh, we should do this. But why did you actually commit to it in the long run?
I think because you kind of just roped us into it, to be honest.
Oh, I roped you into it. I said you convinced us wholly.
Travis needed members, so he's just taking us.
You got this Canadian flag in the background there, just rocking it. I like that.
I was trying to go for the Spider-Man 3 scene when he jumps in front of the American flag.
Such a random scene to throw out. Like that.
I mean, gosh, being on the long haul for podcasting, it's I think it just kind of became an addiction at first. I mean, it was just such a riveting, fresh experience just to get together and talk. And we were such garbage at it, but people liked what we were talking and how we talked. And it kept getting better and better every year. Our topics got more honed in. We got more experienced, and we just kind of got a knack for it.
You know what? That's kind of terrible. You're like, it was such garbage, and Greg was like one of your first fans to tell people. So you're like shitting on Greg. You're like, we're throwing garbage out there. Greg was like, I love this
Some
shit.
people enjoyed that garbage, you know. It's just like, hey, how'd that go? You were obsessed with it just because you wanted to get away from your terrible ex. Don't lie. You were just happy to be out of the house, you know.
It was nice to be with mutually like-minded people.
As I was going, so Heinz, how did you get into it? How was the start of superhero discussion? Then obviously you link up with Greg and Nathan stuff, but yeah, where were you?
Listening to the Squadcast, it was Suicide Squadcast at the time. Brent came in for an episode, I want to say it was around 30s. I was listening to it like the 5th or 6th episode. So just starting interacting with the guys, and then because most of my friends in my day-to-day life, it's all sports, which I love sports. I kind of could talk about that forever, but I also love this, and there's not that much crossover from that for most people. So
I was on episode 28. That's a freakish good memory.
Yeah. So you were talking about, I want to say it was a trailer for BVS, maybe. Sometimes I'm an idiot, so that could be wrong. What? But yeah. So you listen to the guys interacting with them. Brent with fans, those Marvel Netflix reviews were the best. Like Daredevil. Like,
oh my God. Watching the whole thing in effectively 2 days is too much.
I legitimately would say I have to finish this because Brent and Ray are going to have an episode out, and I don't want it to sit there in my queue just like laughing at me for not finishing the episode. So that was, but I got linked up with DC Daily Drop. Tom basically wrote me after talking with him a little bit, asked me would I come on weekly every Friday to review DCCW shows. So got a little taste of that, and that was fun. But I don't know how they did it. They did daily episodes for a couple years there, so I don't even know how they did that. So real life got in the way, and then it started at SCS. Greg did, and I started Superhero Discussions roughly around the same time.
Yeah,
linked up with them a little bit, and then went in there. I was only supposed to do Superhero Discussions, but Nathan couldn't do DC Alliance. Got on there.
We fired him right before. I can't do it.
Yeah, I know.
And now I'm the last person left from the original DC Alliance. So like,
you're gone in a month too.
And I wasn't even
supposed to. You got your
ex-wife
ex-wife and your new wife on the same.
And I wasn't even
podcast.
supposed to do the show. That's the erotic thing. I wasn't even supposed to do the show. So yeah, last bit steady. But 2 shows are getting a little daunting. We did the DC animated shows when I did Superhero Discussions. Did Batman and Superman because Greg hadn't seen those yet, and those were pretty iconic. But myself personally, it's been a while since I've seen some of the old Marvel animated shows. So after we finish Long Halloween and Rick and Morty, I'm diving into Iron Man season 1 of that old animated show. Ooh. Because it got the best opening of all time. So I'm really excited. I'm going to do more solo because it's easier to do 2 shows that way. So probably going to dabble a little more. There'll be guests in that, but there'll be some solo stuff.
He's like, fuck y'all. I don't want you on my show anymore. He's solo, everybody. Don't ask me to be on the episode.
When you don't have a co-host and you got to get weekly guests, like it's not as easy to
That's what we're
keep
talking
getting
about with Chris.
them over and over again.
I talk about with Chris and Katie. Like Chris is a master, but Katie all the time, she's always said like she loves doing the show, but it is hard for Slice always to make sure you have somebody that wants to talk about this film, stuff like that. It's you guys take on a lot. I couldn't imagine having that.
Well, when you told me MODOK didn't exactly tank, because I thought I was going to be like dumpster fire in terms of downloads, and you said it was pretty close to. And I was like, okay, I'll do a lot more solo because it's a lot easier to jump here. Like I'm an hour and a half ahead of Eastern time, so it makes like when I first podcast with Brent, 4:30, like past 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah,
is it tomorrow for you now?
It was weird.
Is it tomorrow for you now?
10 minutes now. In your defense, Brent, we spent an hour and a half talking before Ray got there.
Well, I mean, yeah, he's always late.
Yeah, you were like, this is typical. So we spent like an hour and a half shooting the breeze by DCCW, but my call was like almost 6 hours. It was crazy. So it was, and I like the sun was coming up. I was like, okay, I really am the worst time zone for podcasting.
The Iron Man shows where the first place I learned about the suitcase armor, even before I read comic books, that was the first time I've ever saw it. I was like, oh man.
I love that opening.
Cool. Well, I'll throw the two of you, Greg and Nathan, because I feel like your origin story, as you were talking about earlier, Greg, is kind of intertwined with some text and whatnot. But Nathan, how did you get in all this? You know, how did you decide I'm going to pick up a microphone? I'm going to offend a lot of people. I'm gonna
shit. Well, it was I started. I don't even know what it was. It was, I think, like the hype for just like the MCU was starting to really explode. Like it was like after the Avengers, because I remember myself, like I went to see the Avengers with one of my buddies that I worked with at the time, and like I saw it on a Friday, and then I went back by myself on a Sunday to watch it, and like I was just I was into it, and I loved Man of Steel when that came out. It's still my favorite movie, so like it just kept building hype, and then I found I don't even know what it was, but I found the Squadcast, Suicide Squadcast, and I was there from like episode 10, I want to say. And I just loved what those guys were doing, and I started branching out, and then I finally got on Twitter because of those guys. And then I started offending people, and hanging out. And then one day, like this random guy slips into my DMs. He's like, "Hey man, I hear these questions you ask on Fans Without Borders, and they're really good." And he's like, I'm thinking about starting a show. And at first, like I was kind of like, "Who's this man? I don't know this man." You know what I mean? And then I'm like, "All right,
can you give me your credit card information?"
Right? Yeah. So like, and then I'm like, finally, I'm like, whatever, I'll talk. And like the first episode was. It was like I didn't have a mic or anything. It was so terrible. Mach 1, like it was literally Tony Stark building.
And it was
put
the
this podcast together in a cave.
It was the in-game
I listened
review
to it.
too.
I remember.
And it's come in, and like Travis said, like I was originally asked to be the DC host with Greg on the show, and I mean I was all in, and then like 2 weeks before we were like set to go, or 3 or so, it was shortly before just a lot of shit in my personal life changed, and I couldn't dedicate the time needed to it. And my work schedule, like I couldn't, like I drive a truck, so if I need sleep, and I start early, and like it just didn't work out. But like even in regards to like this, like this network and stuff, like I don't know if Mr. Snail's gonna say it or not, but there's like if you guys like how we pause for ad breaks and stuff now, and it just isn't there thrown in there randomly, that's because of me. Because I'll never forget there's a Marvel episode where Chris and Travis are talking. They change subjects. 45 seconds later, Chris is in the middle of a sentence talking this really good point, and the commercial breaks in. And
that wasn't on me.
Lost it.
That wasn't on
me.
I fucking
lost it. And I went, and I mean, I'm texting this in the chat. That was weird. He's going, well, we try to do it every 15 minutes. I said, no one fucking cares. I mean, I'm going off, and like, it works out. And then like, I don't know, we got it. And now it's like, we talk, it doesn't matter. You can go 45 minutes before there's an ad break, and they'll go, and like, you know what I mean? And like, I suggested separate feeds a long time ago for stuff because it was a little jammed up. And now look, DC and Marvel got it for me. I'm just giving Travis shit because he told me that we were going to review that at the 1 year mark. I'm just saying, I've done a lot of growing with this network, and I've done, from, like I said, from Greg and I going terribly. You know what I mean? Like the first show being terribly, and now being onto this, I love hanging out and knowing all you guys. It's just a good time and just shooting the shit and talking. And I got a lot more friends across just across the United States, Canada. It's just it's been a nice journey, and I'm glad I'm along for the ride. And like I said, 1 year in, still haven't been canceled, baby. We're going strong.
And I still have the text because I remember that was like week 3 or 4 into launch, and Spreaker, because they even fucked up Geek. They had our ads all over the place, and it was all crazy. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, we're only a few weeks in, because I think that was one of the first Brent had messaged me too. He's like, hey, yeah, your ads are really off. I'm like, yeah, all I got is an email. I'm talking to our rep. That's all I can do. I'm trying to figure it out, and then luckily it's more and once you get. Luckily, Geekverse has done better too. Once you kind of grow up, you kind of get a bit more like perks, like we can do that for you.
It's growing experience.
Because technically, the separate feeds thing, I was not allowed to do 6 months ago.
Yeah, I know. We talked exactly. Yeah, I remember talking. That was the same conversation. But I'm just saying, like I said, 1 year. I don't know. I'm just saying. I was just giving you shit. Really, I wasn't saying this is what it is because of me. I'm just joking.
Nathan's grown. He'll ask more questions. I remember before we started the network, I got this long paragraph on Easter because he didn't understand something, and then half an hour later, it was like, I I talked to Greg. I get it now. And
yeah.
What about
Forgot
you,
that was
Greg?
Easter. Yeah, my bad.
Oh man, mine's simple. You know, most of my inspiration for starting a podcast is here in the room. You know, I deliver mail, and so I had a lot of time on my hands, and I got tired of listening to music, and I had a friend suggest you should check out podcast. You know, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll check it out. And I found Geekverse, I found Squadcast Media, and I just fell in love with listening to all y'all. And for me, it was more the fact that Brent, you and everybody on Squadcast, and Travis, you know, y'all on Geekverse, y'all were not only fun to listen to, but you were interactive. Like you made me feel like more than just like a fan. Like you would respond to me, you would interact with me, and I was like, man, this feels real awesome. People. This is so cool. Yeah. And
our
you know,
content was garbage, so we had to make up for it.
And well, the funniest thing is like I loved the way it was. I love the feeling of a group of friends hanging out. So, you know, I had the idea, like, I'd like to have something like that where it's more like a talk show where, you know, I'm going to start the show and run it, but I have everybody else in the show. And it's really about what everybody else in the show is saying. And I'm just kind of putting points out there, you know, and I'll add my stuff in. And I was like, well, I need a partner. And listening to Fans Without Borders, you know, you guys had the questions, you know, people write in all the time. And I heard Wobbly Boots a couple times, Wobbly Boots 85, Wobbly Boots 85. And I was like, all right, I'm going to contact this guy. And, you know, that was how we all got started. We're both civil servants. So that's how we came up with the name. You know, and we just dove right into it, man. And it's been a great experience ever since then.
And I remember Travis and I were already talking, like Travis Hines had a job where like he was working or like he was up early and I would get up early. It just worked out perfect. And we just talk about like Ninja Turtles, the movie, and like all this other shit. I told him that I was like, you know, this guy, I'm going to start this podcast with Greg. And I'm like, you got to get on with this. I remember like by episode 3, Travis was a regular member of the show. But sorry, Greg, I didn't mean, you know.
No, you're good. We're telling the same story. Yeah. Well, and that's the best part about it was between all the people that I've met, it's an open door. Like, you know, everybody knows we do it Friday at 5 p.m. or Friday 9 p.m. Excuse me. And you know, everybody's invited to come on. The more people we can have, the merrier. And it's just a group of friends hanging out and talking about things that we love. And I was inspired from y'all about that kind of stuff, you know, and it's just great to be able to now be with y'all doing that and to, you know, still be rocking. You know, me and Nathan, we're about to get to 100 episodes. And
most
you know,
podcasts don't go past 10. They don't get into double digits. And that's the truth. Most podcasts don't even get into double digits.
So, I mean, it's just been an awesome experience. I remember, I don't know why, but for some reason, one of my favorite episodes from Geekverse ever is the Power Rangers review. I don't know why. Maybe I was just having a good day that day, but y'all were just having such a good time on that review. I was like, man, this is awesome. This is so fun. And that and the all the Adam Sandler Netflix movies reviews.
Oh yeah,
love listening to y'all on those. They were so fun.
Those were brutal, you know, for us.
And you know,
the do-over was still a tough experience. I think all the time.
Yeah. And then Brent, you know, anything DCCW when I was into it back then, man, I would write y'all. You know, we had a great time interacting back and forth. I loved listening to everything y'all were saying. You know, and it just all came together. Chris walked into the picture. Sarah and Katie came in, man. We all just started coming together. I met Lisa. Everybody, you know, Joe, everybody here, man, Clay, it's just all coming together. And I loved it. And it was the idea originally, was just to get a group of people together, like minds that have, you know, good ideas and have a fun time talking about stuff.
I remember almost like half-ass fanboying out when Brent came on Super Civil Service the first time because I listened to it for so long.
I think we all did.
I was like, he's going to come on this little shit. We might have 10 listeners and this guy's going to come on. That is awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was an experience, you know?
Hey,
that was the Marvel ranking show.
It was. But for all you know, Fans only has 10 listeners. Who cares?
Right.
As long as you're having fun, it doesn't matter.
Well, and that's the best part about it is I know when I first started this, that was my thing. Is like, I want to get listeners and I want people to be out there. Now I just want to have fun with friends, man. I love fans and I love you. I want more fans, but honestly, like, I just want to have fun with friends. And I think for me, that's the best thing. Don't
listen
to
my
podcast.
show. He's saying no.
That's the most fun thing about a podcast is when you can listen to a group of friends talking and having a great time, you know? And so it's just having a good time, man.
If you're doing it to get followers, you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Right.
So
like
you should have told me that 6 years ago. What's going on?
It's just like Seinfeld when they're in the booth, you know, they're just talking about nothing and everything. You know what I mean? That's the feel. Just friends sitting around shooting the shit.
Yeah. What about you, Tony? How did you link? Because I know you're linked to Clay a little bit and stuff like that, but I know the least about, because like I said, we just podcast first time together like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now I think I know the least about your origin story, so you can explain that to the listeners, viewers, whoever it may be.
Well, for years I've been wanting to do one on my own. I listen to like fans, TV shows, like when I watch a TV show, I get addicted to that TV show, so I want like listen to a podcast about it. I think I'm listening to like 20 podcasts like last like 3 years, maybe 4 years. So I'm like, I think I want to try one on my own. So last year I was listening to Jim's Patreon, and at the end of it, he said a guy is trying to start his own comic review podcast. Like, sure, I'll give him a message. We started on the Novel podcast. I enjoyed it, got my mic. Now, I had no idea how to do a podcast. So I was like, sure, let me get a mic. I was like researching it. Thankfully, the target I was going to had it in stock. Got an email later. Sorry, it sold out.
Nice.
Crap.
Oh,
yeah. So for long as I use my Apple ones, which like they're okay, but I didn't like it at times because they were not really working. Fortunately, because like old pair. So thankfully, within time, I was able to get a Snowball Blue, get some headphones because I didn't have headphones at first too. So we could get so much of the echo back onto it, and I wasn't doing editing. The other guy was, which I felt bad for him because he had to edit everything I was saying to fit it just right. And then I was
feel bad. Ron, my co-host, does not feel bad at all. Yeah.
No shame.
Nope.
No shame.
After doing like 2 hours, I was like, yeah, I did feel bad. If it was like a quick one, sure, why not? But then one of the episodes that Claire was doing on, I forgot which episode they were advertising for, like the Rangers were like, sure, I'll throw my name in it. You mentioned that you want to get a girl on. I'm like, I might not be a girl, but I'll at least throw my name in the hat.
Yeah.
So
I was just to throw that in there. I was wanting to do something that, because I will be honest, I think I only listened to 2 podcasts with female hosts. Of course, there is I Love That Movie, and then I listened to a random Bravo one because my wife has want me to join into conversations that she does with her Real Housewives and all that random bachelorette stuff.
Oh no.
So I bit the bullet and started listening to them, and I was like, you know what? I want a diverse group of individuals to do the Ranger podcast, and then
how'd that go?
3 average.
Oh yeah. No.
What do you want?
What
do you want?
That was good.
Oh, and that's why the beginning of I think in the middle of the network, I had 2 female hosts line up to do 2 separate ones to do a gaming one for the network because I really want to there's so much gaming podcasts out there, but there's rarely any with females. And I know there's people out there, but it just fell apart with scheduling.
But they got a live stream and wear skimpy outfits because that's the only way. That's how every
that
YouTube video game.
That's
girl
what I put
is.
in the details. I said I'm gonna be wearing them. Anything I wear, you have to wear.
YouTube channel of girl gamers. It's just what is happening.
Yeah. So no, same thing. I was like, yeah, I got
Twitch,
and
whatever.
fell through, and then so it happens, Clay. Yeah, Clay, what about you? Where I left you for last because you're always on the leash, so I gotta get you to calm down right when you get into the room.
Because he has the most podcasts, that's why he left him for last.
Yeah,
don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he has to tell us the origin for everyone. But no,
we're voting.
Oh, go ahead.
If we're voting, if we're throwing the names in the hat of who's going to get canceled first, I'm number 1 and Clay's number 2, guys. So just to let you know, we're 1 and 2. So people are getting canceled on this network. He's right on my heels. I just want everybody to remember that.
But yeah, so we'll go with Clay, and then after I got some to end this podcast, some quick fire. We got this cover stories that I want your BS meter.
Gosh.
We do this on Geek first.
no.
We ask you 1 out of 5 how much you think it could be true for what actually happened. So we'll end with that quickly. But Clay, what is your
Market 0?
So for anybody who is watching the YouTube video for this is what I started on. A small handheld recorder.
Look at
because
that.
I did not have anything to record
You
my
did see lines
That
of
looks like what the
video.
ghost hunters use for sure.
Yeah.
Is that at the Smithsonian?
We got to do a retro episode, Clay.
Yeah, you have
So-
gear.
Where's the cassette go?
I use this. It's an SD card. Thank you very much.
These are amazing.
And then I had to slide the SD card after every recording into my laptop, and then edit it that way. And then I would push it to the first network that I was on. I've only been podcasting since 2018, so it's only been 3 years that I've been doing this.
That's a long time,
Yes.
though, really.
Yeah.
3 years, and
really
I've
is.
been through 1, 2. So I've been through 8 shows in 3 years. One including my own that is on a complete hiatus, basically because I've already on this network, and I'm like, I'll just put everything on this network from now on. But I started because I was working at a comic book shop, and my manager had a podcast, and they had their own network, and they were wanting to put a comic book show on there, and I was like, well, hey, I'm available, I'll do it. So I got started there. That's when I started getting interested in other people's podcasts, because I just didn't want to listen to myself talk. That's when I found DC Squadcast. And then after that, that's when I pretty much branched out to everybody else's podcast after that. But it wasn't until, what was it, 2020, when I got that random DM from Greg that was like, hey, we're about to do a Black Panther commentary. Let's go ahead and it was just I was outside, just got back home from dinner.
I do that.
And I just got this message, and I was like, sure, I guess let's I'm gonna go upstairs real quick, and just popped open Disney Plus and started watching it. That's how I got introduced to most of Geekverse and everything else. And then the rest is history. You know, I started I was wanting to start a Power Rangers podcast just because I love the comic books. I thought I loved the show until I started to really watch it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it still has a place of nostalgia in my heart. But my God, the 90s were rough for TV, like really, really rough. So it's been fun. I still have like I technically have a show on Jim's Patreon now, teaching other people how to podcast. So the first episode is out on that. But I have an episode or a show that I still want to launch, but I don't have enough time at all to do that. Because I am also now a student for audio engineering. Podcasting has pushed me into going to school for it. And I've been really wanting to get into audio dramas. That's my dream. So yeah.
Nice.
Well, like I said, this is how we're getting it off. So if you don't know what we do, is I took a bunch of stories. I think I just got 5 or 6 here, and I'm going to go around the room. I'm going to give you the headline, and 1 out of 5, you give me the possibility. Yes, it's coming from We Got This Covered, but sometimes there's some headlines where you go, this makes no sense at all, but you go, this could be realistically happen. So, Kirkland, I'm going to start with you, and then I'm going to go around the room. This is the headline. Jessica Jones might return to the MCU, played by Kristen Ritter, in Armor Wars. What do you think the possibility of her being in Armor Wars is? 1 out of 5. And obviously, as people know, they're probably, it's, we got this covered, we got it. I know the point of the game is just like, if this was a reputable person, is this actually likely? And sometimes these scoops they get are from like actual other scoopers, and we write them off. But it's like Daniel Rickman has like a bunch that they credit him in here for and stuff like that. So it's kind of funny that sometimes they get them from other people. But Kirkland, 1 out of 5 as far as could Jessica Jones be in Armor Wars?
So 1 being the lowest, 5 being
1
the
being
most.
the lowest, 5 being the most. Yeah.
I mean, I've never seen Jessica Jones, so I don't really have much to pull from here. But I'm just gonna say a 2.
Right in the middle.
I feel like that's a safe bet for someone that doesn't have the most knowledge on this, and I just feel like it'd be a weird thing to pull. I don't know. That's my surface knowledge right there.
I love your shirt, Kirkland. I just now noticed that.
Oh, thank you.
Attention. I love that.
Majin
Yeah.
Buu.
Yes, sir. I love it.
Represent. Thank you.
Taylor, Field, what about you? You've seen one season of Jessica Jones.
The best one.
He wasn't a big fan of that even. He dropped off.
I needed Iron Fist to be in there, and it was gold.
What do you think about this one?
Probably a 2. I mean, the only thing I could see, like, I think Armor Wars. I just think I'm gonna have like metal suits everywhere fighting, and maybe some espionage. Maybe someone goes to her like, "Hey, I need you to do some investigation, find some information for me." So, I mean, maybe there's like a plausible plot line, but I don't know.
Rhodey needs a private eye.
What about you, Nathan?
It's 1 to 5. Can I go -4? Can I go
-4?
-4? Like I'm taking points away. I'm -4.
You can.
Okay. Let's say if it was like a
yeah. Variety puts this
reliable
out.
source or something, like kind of like Taylor said, like what would Rhodey need, or like it's going to be a Rhodey centric show. He's got the government. He doesn't need to go hire go to this little rundown apartment building to get Jessica Jones out there on the case. So I would still say a 1.
It's because she can do things the government can't out of their jurisdiction.
Okay.
Oh, there
Okay.
you go. Taylor's pitching it.
Mm.
What about you, Brent?
For Armor Wars, I would go 2,
Mhm.
but returning into the MCU, I would say 3.
Okay.
I like
I don't see it being Armor Wars.
Chris, what about you?
Yeah, same thing. I don't see Armor Wars, so I'm gonna go one step down and go 1 at that point. But for
One.
returning
Ooh.
returning to the MCU, I'll go a little bit higher and say 4.
What about you,
Do
Tony?
you have a pick? Sorry, I'm just out of curiosity. Do you have a pick of where she would appear if you go with a 3?
I would say She-Hulk right now would be the
Oh
quickest
yes.
at that point.
Yes.
Okay.
She-Hulk number 1, Secret Invasion
like
number
that.
2.
Yeah, those two. Yep.
What about you, Tony?
1. Because I don't see why she would be in it at all. It'd be cool if she was, but I don't see any reason why. You have a huge list of other people that will make a little bit more sense than her.
Heinz?
0. I'm sorry. Just because of Armor Wars. Just because of Armor Wars, like Chris and Brent said.
Exactly.
But I think that I can never say that she'll be in the MCU until she won't be there until Daredevil is figured out. What they do with Daredevil before we even figure out what happens to her.
We'll know that soon.
Ironheart.
Daredevil will be confirmed soon.
She could show up in the Ironheart series. Secret Invasion. That's your number 3.
Greg, what about you? Greg, too, especially because I like sometimes you were a culprit for a while sharing some of these articles early on in the network. And we had to be like, oh, no, we can't.
I have a question for y'all at the end of this, and that's going to be part of it.
Yes.
I'm I'm a betting guy. I like to zig when everybody else zags. And since I have no problem being wrong, because I'm wrong quite a bit, I've accepted it in my life. I'll say a 5. That way, if it ever does happen, you guys say, "Look, Greg said it right there."
Greg called it.
You know what?
He wants
it
that
works for me.
hashtag Greg was right.
Yeah, there you go.
He's like the Price is Right going, I'll go $1, Bob.
That's right.
I'm still a Barker guy, so
And Greg, you need a new theory after the WandaVision House of M thing. Like, didn't exactly work out. You need your new go-to of like, this is gonna happen, Like, and it may have not, we might worked out down the line, but as of right now, we don't have that, full on confirmed. So
that's true.
Clay, I don't think he's there, so I'll come back to him later. Kirk, I'll start with you again. Sony, or I guess that's kind of the headline, but they will reportedly have 2 Sinister Six teams. You'll have one in the MCU, and then you'll have one in the Sonyverse with Venom, Morbius, and all his other friends. So I asked this because, again, and this is, they just say, like, take this with a grain of salt. This one's from them. But what would you see about that? The 2 separate Sinister Sixes as far as MCU having one, and then Sony having one.
I mean, that's a lot of people to bring together.
Sinister 12.
Yeah, Sinister 12.
Dozen.
I feel like just having that many like sinister individuals, I feel like that's kind of unlikely. But it's not the wildest one that you pitched me. So I think a 2 again, just because I don't want I want to come out and say 1, but I feel like I don't know, I could be surprised. So, but I think it's unlikely.
I guess I forgot to say the last story. I'm actually a 3 on the Jessica Jones Armor Wars. I think Taylor had some good points. I could see a cameo
Taylor was
or
winning
something.
you,
Yeah, for the first time ever, he's winning me over. Yeah,
that doesn't happen much.
Yeah, not really. No. Brent, what about you? You're the other big spider guy. What do you think about this? 2 Sinister Sixes.
I mean, if the question was, would Sony try to do this? Would they talk about this? Would they say, yes, this is a great idea? It's a 5. They would totally put that out there.
Mm-hmm.
Will it actually happen? 1. I won't say it's impossible, but no, we're not getting 2 different Sinister Sixes.
Okay. Chris.
Yeah, I'll go like 1.5 at that point. I'm not saying the mainstream audience, people say, oh, the mainstream won't get it. They can figure it out. It's not that. It's just they're playing nice right now. And I just don't think that they would want to basically shoot themselves in the foot by trying to. Oh, Sony definitely doesn't want to shoot themselves in the foot. They can keep on trying to put out Jackpot, which we all know is going to be an Academy Award-winning film, but
huge.
But
what's up?
They, the fact that we're gonna say, oh, the death of this, the SPUMC is, it's like Mark Twain. The news of their death is largely exaggerated. I mean, they're still putting it out there. I mean, they just put what's his face from Watchmen is now going to be what is it, show running?
Yeah,
the Silk series. So I don't see them putting out two different Sinister Sixes right now. Sony's got the lead on it. At that point, so we haven't seen MCU's version yet.
Yeah. What about you, Joe?
I'm also there with a 1. It definitely seems it's possible, and I definitely agree with Chris that it'd be dumb if they did, but I don't. That's 12 villains they have to come up with, because if you use the same villains, people are going to get confused. We can give a general audience a lot of credit, but if the MCU has, say they have their own Morbius, and then the Sony universe has Jared Leto Morbius, come on, people are gonna be like, what? Why are there two? Look what they did with Joker. Like, people were just confused by that. So
because I will say that report, they specifically say from their sources that the teams will be different. That's what they're saying. That you would have two of those. So
let's get 6 villains in the MCU for Spider-Man first, and then maybe we'll worry about the Sony one.
See, everyone's low. I'm gonna throw out that I'm rocking like a 4 right now, because I think Sony's crazy enough to try it, and I think what's gonna happen is I bet in No Way Home there will be a Sinister Six, but they might not ever call them the Sinister Six, but we will get a movie from Sony called the Sinister Six. So I believe this. I actually think
does that count if they don't call them the Sinister Six?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
It's sure. There'll be a group of villains in both universes.
Can I go next?
SS.
Okay, Brent. Let's take a trip back to when did Venom come out? 2018, right? Is that when Venom came out?
Sounds right.
I told Brent, I said, I'm with the success of it. I said, I'm calling it now. I said, Sony's going to do their anti-hero Sinister Six group. You've got Venom, you've got Morbius, you've got Craven right now. They've been trying to do Silver and Black for a while. They're going to have one more. They're going to do it. They might call it their Sinister Six, but it's going to be their anti-hero. And then back at Marvel, they're not. So I'm going 5. Marvel's going to have their Sinister, but it's coming from the multiverse of these old characters. So, but like you said, they're not going to call it that. I'm a 5 on this. So like I said, I 2018, I told this to Brent. I said they're going to do Sinister Six anti-hero, because they've been trying for years to do this Silver and Black. They were going to be singles, and they were going to be a combined movie, and then it was going to be buddy cop, and then they weren't again in this series. So I think that's where they're going. They're actively heading that way.
What about you, Greg?
I'm gonna go with the 0 on this one, to be truly honest with you. I'm kind of where Joe's at. They're not gonna share characters, and they're going to come up with 12 different characters. And
like
go ahead
Vulture?
and give me some.
Doc.
Yeah, okay. I just feel like go ahead and give me some really good villains. Like, build up the villains a little more in either universe before you start talking about having a team up of 6 that are they've
onto something with Sony. Snell's onto something with Sony.
So they probably will have 6 if they pull from the old Spider-Man movies.
Yes, they will.
So I might switch mine to like a
yeah. Get
3.
over here.
I'll go 3.
Get over here to this side of the line.
I'm not complaining.
2 or 2.5. You can't rule out Sony. Like, they can do anything. They're crazy, but
they
also, Nathan, I think you're forgetting about stuff like the Masterverse. Like, you're there. We got Craven, we got Morbius,
but they already have
iconic
them.
Picture.
Yeah,
but they already have them.
Yeah, you can have them. We don't saying they're not dumpster fires
that's true.
high quality,
right.
And then
To
you
be
just
fair,
scrap
It's
it.
already a dumpster fire.
They're not Tom Cruise's The Mummies. What you're saying? Is that
To
what you're
be
saying?
fair, they only have Venom and Morbius. Craven's not even like in production or anything yet. We can't really give them that one yet.
He could get the DC treatment pretty quick.
Yeah,
he could get DC treatment pretty quick.
I can see Sony pushing it through, though. Like, they want content. I can see them jamming that down our throats.
And Jack
need content.
Paul Giamatti's going to be out there with his weird accent and the tattoo on his forehead. Like, it's coming, guys.
See, that'll be the MCU.
That's Jared Leto's Joker, I thought.
Oh,
Damaged.
To move on
Stop
from
it.
there,
Damaged.
Greg, what do you
Kinda
think
like
about
Gomer.
this?
About
Batman Forever.
He said-
Your
he
rating
said
on
zero.
this.
oh,
Oh,
at
you
zero.
said 0. Oh, right, you did.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Mhm.
Then we
Heinz, you said 2.5. Tony, where are you on this?
I want to say 1, but I think I'm going with 2 because like Sony, the SPUMCD, whatever it's called, they are stupid, but I think they're stupid enough to do it. But I don't think they're gonna last that long. I feel like they're not gonna last as long as the MCU or the DCU.
You only need the one movie,
Mm.
the one hit.
Go Venom.
Damn it, he's right.
Play.
He's right.
All right, so I do apologize. I did have to leave the room for a quick second. What was the title of the article?
It was Sony is gonna have there's gonna be a Sinister Six in the MCU, and then there's gonna be a Sinister Six in the Sony universe.
I would easily have to go with a 4. Like
Wow.
it's very plausible. Regardless of how you see it, whether it's multiversal or whatever with MCU, like they're gonna do it. There's no doubt that they're going to do it because they stick with everything that they put out there. With Sputnik, I think that the whole thing with Venom and with possibly Vulture and Morbius, I think that Sony, like you said, hashtag content, they need something to be able to draw in more people to jump onto that universe. And right now, as much as I hate it, Venom is very, very, very popular. And so if he's going to be the hero to this Sinister Six, then that's what it's going to be.
Taylor, who you're taking a picture looking like a boy band right now behind a brick wall.
Oh yeah, he's in a photo shoot right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, that's why he keeps moving spots. He's like, I'm just podcasting. Give me a second. Where are
He's
you
in the
on
middle
this
of a
one?
photo shoot.
Yeah.
I'd have to go with a 4. I think it's very, very likely. I think that again the MCU set themselves up to pull characters for their own Sinister Six, from the Raimi films, and I think with Sony, as far as Vulture goes, I can't have any logical explanation as to why that's the thing or what they're doing. I'm sorry, but again, Sony's working on their whole roster of villains for who knows
Vulture's
what. I mean, we got
brother,
that
Buzzard.
We got that Madam Web movie on the way at some point, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
who knows what they're up
Oh
to.
yeah. Okay, yeah, I think I was like a 4th on that one. So
Ben Parker
Go to
movie
jet
is like,
Snell.
yeah.
okay, sounds good.
It's after. It's almost 12:30.
Yeah, I was gonna say
here.
I'm actually gonna go myself too. I was gonna say I'm gonna have to be leaving.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah, sounds good. You guys go. I'll
All
hit
right.
everyone with one last one, and then we'll get out of here. So, well, thank you all
All right,
for
see you
being a part
guys.
of it. Yeah. See ya.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. So, I don't know which one I want to do. I have 3, but I just don't know what. Well, one's too realistic, so I'll kick that out. I want to do the one I'm kicking out is like the TVA will reportedly go after Deadpool in the MCU. I'm like, you could see something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's like a crazy theory or something like that, but I'll go with this one because I just want to talk about a story we didn't talk about Geek first because it's stupid. But source: Robert Pattinson reportedly worried that Zoe Kravitz will overshadow him in the Batman. I had to read the whole story because it goes also. There's no reason given to why he feels this way. He just feels the way he does. And the reason I want to ask you that though is because there's that, and everyone's going to give that a 1. But I just want to ask you first, Kirkland, there was that fake story going around. It was really good. Someone put up the story about like Robert Pattinson tried to kidnap Matt Reeves on set. And then the next tweet below, they said this is a parody, but then a YouTuber took it and ran with it and didn't see the parody tweet. So they ran with this story. So Kirkland, I imagine you're a 1 on the Robert Pattinson's worry about Zoe Kravitz, but what in your
Maybe like
right
1.5.
mind- 1.5. What in your right mind? Why would he try to kidnap the director? What would cause? We're in a real world where Variety reports, and they in this fake tweet, which was really fun, they put he brought a gun to set as well. But apparently,
Why
there's
wouldn't
still- Yeah, you need that in a kidnapping, right? You know.
I mean, it's got to be something bigger than movies, right? If he's kidnapping the director of the project. I feel like it's something personal. I don't know. Maybe he did something dirty to him. I honestly, I'm not creative enough to think of a reason why Robert Pattinson would want to kidnap Matt Reeves on the set, nonetheless.
Yeah, in front of everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Trying to send a message. Yeah, I don't know.
We got this covered. Like I went through like scrolling them. They have so many Robert Pattinson stories. They have this. They have then like one story says specifically he wants to ensure that Batman marries Catwoman in the movie. He'll never work with Matt Reeves again. He wants to make jokes about the Snyder.
He's secretly filming a Crank sequel on the Batman.
Oh yes.
The Batman set. That's why all these stories are coming out.
Taylor, do you have any reasons why Matt Reeves would possibly get kidnapped?
I think what was it? Because he's masturbating all over the set. Isn't that
well?
what
That was the whole story. Remember, it was Robert Pattinson got her pregnant, and then there was that report that Matt Reeves was caught masturbating on set angrily. The report said angrily as well. Because they said angrily
Angry
and
jerk.
swearing, and
swearing. What is he swearing about? Damn you, Robert Pattinson! Oh, you.
You can't kidnap me.
To self-defense.
Well, you can't kidnap a guy who's masturbating in front of you. It's common knowledge.
I would walk off set if you walk on and you got a guy masturbating, and then the other Batman has a gun. It's over. That's a bad day in the office.
Is he wearing the bat suit while he abducts him, or no?
He
had to be, because no one knew it was him. That was his plan. He's like, no one's gonna know it's me. And they're like, Robert, the suit's only for you and the stunt double. The stunt double's over there. Taylor, you got any reason?
I don't know. Unless he like did something very simple, but I mean, I'll see all of the masturbating story. I mean, it's so weird. It's so weird.
Well, if anyone has any theories, throw them out. I'm gonna put everyone on the spot. I only did that to Kirkland and Taylor because I can.
Yeah, I don't.
But yeah, I'm a one. We got this covered report on Robert Pattinson or the Batman. I'm a one all day on that because I think it's just people making up jargon and whatnot, and the movie will open and be fine. So yeah. Well, anything to say before we get out of here?
I think more so, it's probably Andy Serkis's Planet of the Apes character is probably like taking over for Batman. That's
Caesar?
why he has it.
Yeah.
They just you get a preview, and now all of a sudden it's like Caesar in the bat suit.
It's actually Detective Chimp. And
there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, that's why I was wondering, like, quickly too, like we were talking about in the group chat, but when Vin Diesel was like, "Oh yeah, we might make prequels," I guarantee if they make a Dom Toretto prequel, there's no way he's not playing a DH version of himself. You cannot convince me anyway. He's not gonna pitch it like, "Oh yeah, I can do this, and it can be me and be my name." Like, he's gonna do it. I 100% think so. So
Are they gonna have to DH John Cena then, since he's apparently his younger brother that
no,
never
they'll be
has
distant.
ever been
They'll be
around?
like
the
he was
other
gone.
movies?
He was being adopted somewhere in a different country.
He said that because apparently Fast 9 does introduce a young Dom.
Okay.
Whatever scenes, like they have an actor in the movie for it. So
Wow.
I'll
that's why
let you know
the
after
prequel
Thursday when
question
I go
was-
see it.
We got hope.
I'm planning on seeing it Friday night. Thursday I got a podcast to record, so
Funny enough, so that TikTok I sent you, Brett, I ordered the shirt from that, so that should be here hopefully by the time I see the movie, and I'm gonna wear that. Cars go fast. It's great.
I don't care what people say. I love that franchise.
I will see it if
unapologetically.
If my
Underrated.
co-host from Batman News Weekly doesn't force me to go see it in theaters, I will see it once it hits a streaming service.
He's gonna
There's no
force you.
reason
How's he
to.
gonna force you? Is he gonna put on a Batman suit and take you there?
How does this connect to the
As he's
Batman?
masturbating angrily.
Every single month, we take turns paying for each other's tickets for each movie. And we have our chance to play our card with, hey, you're taking me to go see this movie. It's just something that we've done for 3 years now. So if he pulls his card for Fast 9, like what other movie is coming out this month?
That's pretty much it for.
I mean, that's
June.
it for next weekend.
Yeah.
You got Black Widow coming up after that. You got what else?
I had those
in
tickets
July?
too.
Yeah, there's some
Yep,
stuff
same.
in July.
Same.
Well, I'm on that podcast
he's-
to cover it. So
he wanted to wait until after the freaking pandemic and then be like, hey, you're gonna pay for this. So it's gonna suck. I have to pay. I think it is my
It's
train.
gonna
this
be
time.
absolutely ridiculous.
Turn your brain off. Enjoy it.
Yeah. What, Taylor?
Yeah, turn your brain off. You know how much you do that.
You got a pitch. Okay.
I got a pitch. So Matt Reeves, why he'd be abducted. I think it's because he spends all day on set on the phone with Ben Affleck just saying, we want to get you as Batman. It just makes Robert just feel like garbage.
Yeah, they're recasting.
Again, yeah. It's like a cheater's lover situation. Like Passon looks at the phone, he sees like text from Ben Affleck. He's like, oh, he's getting
what the
really
fuck is this?
Yeah, I thought I was Batman.
Get an angry jerk on later.
You said you were done with him.
Yeah. So yeah, anything to say before we close this out? Greg,
I have real quick around just one question. So we're cooking for all y'all. Well, I've been podcasting for a while. What in your entire time podcasting is your facepalm moment? Like the moment where you just realize something, you're like, what the hell have I been doing? Or wow, I can't believe I wasn't doing this.
Facepalm was having my best friend as my host. That was a mistake. That's not true. I love Ron. He's awesome.
Mine's easy as far as like I think month 2 or month 3, me and my friend Liam, when we were doing like our comic book like superhero side podcast for Geek First, we recorded like 3 episodes back to back, and I had something set wrong and like none of them recorded at all. And it was like a whole day's worth. And it was fine because we're still friends. We had a good time talking, but it was just like, yeah, this is coming out. And that to me was the biggest one. Anytime after a podcast when I'm editing and I have the mic switched to something, like if it's the Mac somehow, and if it's a big review too, that's the worst. If it's like, oh, we got this, Doctor Strange is coming, and it's like, oh man, like I had the wrong mic on the whole time. It's like you salvage it, you try to edit, but it's like, oh, that's all I can do. So that's for me. It's probably just recording issues. It's like, man, I wish I would have just checked it. If I would have checked it one more time, it would have been fine. But I just sat down in a rush or something like that.
Yeah, in more recent memory, it'd probably be something similar where I like just like recording like separate tracks on Audacity or something, and then like just not checking my mic that it's like set to the one I'm actually using. I mean, that's just come up more during the COVID, the remote podcasting and stuff like that. But before that, I feel like, I mean, Travis can attest to this. I was very, very bad with scheduling. I would just like completely forget that we had a cast or something. So there's probably a couple moments where it's like, hey, you're almost here. Or, back when I had to travel across town to Travis's place, it's just like, oh yeah, I'm definitely not coming to that.
Yeah. So many times he was late. One of our charity streams, he went to someone else's house, and they were like, we start in 10 minutes, and he got
that was many moons ago. So
it was. You're much better now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you love
it. For me, I would have to say, and like I said, I give plenty of credit to Chris with us doing the creator spotlights and Katie to doing the slice of film. But me getting out of the guest hosts, because I interviewed, I keep forgetting his name because he's very forgettable to me now. He did work for DC for quite some time. He was on the YouTube channel for DC. Jason Inman was his name. He actually like came out with a book, and I was like, hey, I would. He actually wanted to be on my podcast. I was like, yeah, go ahead and shoot me the preview of your book or the whole book or whatever you have, and I'll read it and we'll podcast. He never sent me the book, and he like blamed me for it, and I was just like, that was my worst experience. And I was like, yep, never doing that again, never doing it. So that was probably my biggest facepalm. But second has to be finding these websites and softwares that are able to record everybody at the exact same time, instead of me having to rely on freaking Audacity, because I will always, if no one tells me, I will always forget to record on Audacity. 100%.
What's you, Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor.
I mean, I've had probably like a million, but there's like one that always comes to the back of comes to the front of my mind every now and again.
Comes to the back of my mind.
All around the mind.
This one time, I can't remember the dispute, but there was some dispute. Me and Travis were setting up for it, and I was so proud of my counter to it that I had a piece of paper, and it had like lines on the paper of like so I was reading my notes on one side, and the other side had lines just like to insult Travis, who's sitting opposite of me. And I misspelled a word all the way down, and he grabs it and shows it for the count. I'm thinking, oh, fucked that up so bad. I can't remember what it said though.
I can't remember. It's in our best stuff. I think our 5-year video. I think it was something about Xbox, of course. But it's yeah, that was a good moment because I'm the one that's always spelling shit wrong. So it's great to have someone else a moment, you know. So
what do you think, Tony?
Probably when we did the Power Rangers record on the Super events, I didn't charge my iPad, so halfway through it, I actually switched to my phone, which when I plugged my headphones in that one, it didn't connect all the way. So when I was talking, nothing could be sound for half of it. My lips were moving, but nope, didn't hear me at all.
Oh no. Yeah.
That to remind Teo, to me, that was your biggest one. Is we did a patron watch along where our patrons are nice.
I just thought of that.
They pay us, money to support us. They grow shows and everything like that, and they get to watch a movie with us. And we did that with Hansi, and he was gonna stream it, and he was using his Mac, and I was like, don't use your Mac. Like if you're gonna use that for high power to stream a movie and like Zoom at the same time, it's not gonna work. He's like, it's be fine. So he spent the whole first half an hour of that movie running through his house trying to boot up his Mac, fix everything because it was a complete disaster. Just like it was so embarrassing. But
I may regret it later, but spending $2,000 on a giant streaming computer is probably the best thing I could have done for recording.
Yeah.
It's a little much, but it actually has helped a whole lot.
Hell yeah. What about you, Brent?
I mean, I've definitely done the wrong microphone thing. That's happened on fans 2 or 3 times, and I've had to pull my call recorder track to get it, which also does my regular microphone. And so nobody knew because I was able to salvage it with the right microphone just because it was recorded twice, or I'd have been absolutely hosed. And then I guess more recently, a few months ago, I was fighting this thing with my microphone volume, my input, and I was messing with it in post and I couldn't figure out why. And eventually it dawned on me just to check truly the input volume. And that's what it was. I was like, man, that's a freaking 2-second fix. And I spent all this time on it looking at stuff in post, and I had several episodes in a row that I'm just not happy with how I sound in this one, but at some point you just say screw it and you release it anyway. And I mean, it's 2 seconds later, nobody ever noticed. I do get a few people who comment if something's weird, and nobody ever noticed on that one, but I noticed.
That's the
best.
You always notice.
Yeah, you always know, and you just hope, man, I hope I don't get a tweet or a review about this, because that's gonna be the one time someone listens and you get that one star of what happens to this guy's audio? He sounds like he's in a tin can. It's like, well, fuck, man, I just made one mistake. I forgot to plug in one cord.
Joe, was yours the best?
Oh no, I was joking. I, as much as I love Ron, he brings an element that is literally just surprise, and he just says whatever's on his mind, which is great.
He's very off the cuff, and it's hilarious.
Yes, and it works. I think Chris had even said, and I mentioned in one of the episodes, he likes listening because you never know what Ron's going to say. No, mine is definitely technical issues. Early on, before I knew how to get 2 mics hooked up to my laptop, we were recording on one mic, and so we were sitting next to each other and then trying to figure it out. When I thought, oh, hey, I can put 2 mics on, we did that. But I didn't know how to actually record with 2 mics. So we're recording. We've got 2 mics. We're sitting across the table and we're recording and it's all going through one mic. And so his mic was recording
awesome,
great. And I was sounding like shit. I was sounding far away. You have no idea what I'm saying. I've definitely learned since then, and I've learned a lot. And the problem I'm having now, which is definitely more of the current, is trying to record using. So with the Squadcast that we use, when we record in the same room and we have a guest on, we're still doing the one mic thing, and he will have either on his laptop or the laptop, second laptop or iPhone or whatever. But all his stuff will be muted, and I cannot for the life of me figure out how to record in the same room on a streaming app like this with somebody and not have a feedback like crazy. Don't know how to do it. So until I can figure that out, because there was even one point where I put up those walls and I sat on the other side thinking, oh yeah, this will totally work. Nope. Nope. Still had echo. Still was just bad. Eventually I'll figure it out. Or he'll just start recording from his house. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, I've had audio issues. I've not hit record. I've hit the wrong mic. I've done all that stuff. I think for me, just to be different from all that, though, is editing was always an issue for me when I first started. It took me like 4 hours to edit a 2-hour podcast. And then the worst part was it would take me like 3 hours to upload it because I had to break it down into like 17 different files. And then I remember I messaged Snow one day and I was like, hey, man, I was like, how do you do this without breaking into like 17 different files? And you're like, try converting it to an MP3 and see what happens. Bam. That's all I had to do. So for about a year and a half, I was doing it as Wave. So about a year and a half, I was doing it about 3 to 4 hours editing an episode, and most of it was just uploading. And I couldn't figure it out. And then you told me that I did it, instantly worked, and I just felt so stupid.
Yeah,
Quick
Wave is great audio. It's the superior audio, but can sometimes just be like. It's a lot of
It's
gigabytes.
not worth it for just audio podcasts.
It's not like sure it sounds better, but it's not worth it for the upload time, everything like that. Like it's just like it's crazy Wave,
Quick question: how many people have lost an episode by accidentally deleting it?
I haven't done that.
That's a good one.
100%.
I've had one
100%.
So the few that have been on the show already. Well, I guess actually the only ones here would be Clay for the main podcast. When we record, we cut up the episodes into each issue. When it's through our recording on the Squadcast, it's all just one long block. When it's Ron and I, or we're recording in house, I will pause the recording, skip a couple seconds, and record again. That way, it's easier for me to edit on my end. There was one time where I was in the middle of like editing, cutting up the episodes to put on their own little like tracks. I deleted the whole thing. 2 hours worth of stuff. And thankfully, before I start cutting up anything, I'll have the file as itself. I'll either upload it to my external hard drive, but then I'll also rename the file. And so I've got the main that I'm not touching, but I've got the other one that I'm cutting up. That happened. I cut up and lost the renamed file, and I still had the main file. And I had to go back and like fast forward, because when I upload it to the my external, it is one giant file versus like when I'm cutting it up and have the space in between, so I know where to cut. It was annoying to have to go and find the spot again, but God, thankfully I had it. I had a backup audio, so that would have been a bad episode.
Yeah, I've had that too, where I've deleted like the audio portion, but luckily when we start streaming to YouTube, it's always there. It'll sometimes sound not as good because like internet quality and whatnot, but it's like at least I had it. One behind the scenes GUA thing. Luckily, she had a backup. But what we do is now we luckily have our own account. People log in, but before it's okay, you send the episodes to us, and someone from Geek can upload it. I was doing that to Katie's, but I accidentally deleted her Star Wars Alliance, and she had a backup, but she didn't respond to me for like an hour, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like I just deleted someone's episode. It's supposed to come out tomorrow. Like I'm going to have to get on there and just do the biggest apology. Because if it's mine, I still feel bad, but it's like, it's mine. The fact that I deleted someone else's, I was like, oh my God, like this is awful. I'm the worst ever. But luckily she's like, no, and that's where I said like, okay, just to be sure, never delete anything until it's up in the air, which is good. Like I've always thought that way. Like don't delete anything until it's public and people are listening to it. Never delete it, because you never know, you might have to edit something, go back. But yeah, I was so worried. I was like,
I usually got like 3 copies floating around. The episode that's up, the long file, and then the secondary file, just in case. So
I appreciate that. I just wanted that's a little 10-minute there. I figured that would be fun to talk about. We all have podcasting experience like that. So, well, gentlemen, we'll call this a close. It was fun time. I want to thank everyone that joined us tonight. It was good to just kind of hash this out and have some fun 2-hour banter and whatnot, celebrate a little. Everyone that was before, people that couldn't make it tonight, Katie, Lisa, Sarah, and a big thank you to everybody that's just been guesting as well, whether you guest on one, like a Tim Rooney or something like that, or multiple times. Just a big thank you. And the biggest thank you to all the listeners, because luckily we started this, like I said, in the middle of the pandemic, but our numbers kept growing, our listeners kept growing, obviously, separate
feeds, got new hosts, stuff like that. So it's been a really good time, and the best has just been meeting like you guys, but also just like listeners. I said that when we started, it was like listeners from different shows were talking to each other, and it was kind of weird of like this big amalgamation of like different fans, you know. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, they're gonna have to learn to love us all, I guess. But it's been tons of fun, and I can't wait to see now with this year actual movies coming out, like and big content coming. It's gonna be a good time. So yeah, just a big thank you to anybody that has ever just hit download or watched a video. It's it means a lot for our free time that you've spent, you know, enjoying, hopefully enjoying it, you know. So if anyone has anything else to say, you can right now, but if not, we will end this episode.
It's been a pleasure meeting and working with you guys.
Of course.
All right there, Windy McGee. Yes, when you hear us next, it'll not be boring. So thank you.